this is the podcast for today. This is all the amazing guests that we have on, as you can see, all in pajamas and thankfully not naked. I'm looking at you, Callum.
Got the kimono.
Yeah, I actually literally bought mine like right before the podcast.
Oh, and it has a pug.
It does have a pug.
It has a pug. That's extra points for the pug. That's extra
Thank you.
points. Absolutely extra points there for that. Well, I actually have pug pajamas too. I wonder if they're the same. I didn't wear them because I was like,
you should check because maybe we're pajama twins, and then
we could be.
Pajamas.
I'm gonna send you a picture. I'll get them out the next time, and I'll be like, okay, pajama twins, sorted, absolutely sorted. Oh, nice background there, Bundy.
Yeah, I noticed that it was the wrong way around, so I flipped it.
Oh yeah, I see it now. Taggy text. Okay, that makes sense. That makes sense. All right, so what we're going to do, we're going to everybody to introduce each other. But this is the third PJ podcast that we've done so far. So I'm a little bit nervous, but I'm really happy that we have, honestly, some of the best creators on Twitch here today with us. But what we're going to do, we're going to introduce yourselves, starting with Callum first. If you could tell us a bit about your channel, yourself, and just generally what you do, because I know you do a lot. So this might be a while.
Yeah, I'll try and keep it brief. Yeah, so my name's Callum. I am a YouTuber and Twitch streamer. I focus mostly on game development, programming, the kind of mentality behind game development and you know, the process there. And aside from that, I mostly focus on busting scams in the gaming industry. That's pretty much me.
And there's a lot of them. There's a lot of them. Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Too many.
There's way too many. And I think, what is it? The Earth one? Project Earth is the biggest right now?
Earth 2, yeah.
That's the biggest.
That one's wild.
That one is crazy. I think that's how we sort of met, I think. Yeah,
I think it was. I think you were telling me that Simon had been watching my videos. So Simon found out about me and you didn't know who I was at the time, I believe. And then we met through talking about that, yeah.
Yeah. Definitely. That was there were good times. I actually watched those videos and I couldn't believe the stuff they'd get up to, but I'm also not surprised because like at the end of the day, the gaming industry is one of the fastest growing. People are trying their best to make as much money as possible, and that's definitely
anywhere there's a big industry, you'll see scams start to pop up, and it's definitely been happening a lot more in the last like 3 years with the gaming industry.
Yeah,
it's got out of hand.
100%. We're gonna pop to Rage. Go ahead, introduce yourself and your channel.
Oh, wow. My name is Rage, or Rage Darling. I am a former only World of Warcraft to now just MMORPGs in general content creator. I am currently working on a video about Guild Wars that has taken me, no word of a lie, almost a month. But when it comes out, and it will, it's gonna hopefully be really, really cool. And hopefully the first sort of stepping stones into the world of YouTube, like, properly. Because I've done a bunch of YouTube back in the day. Specifically, like, 2020 was my World of Warcraft tutorials, how-tos, top 10s, and everything era. And then something happened at Blizzard that kind of just sunk everything that I was planning. The issue with being a content creator that specializes in one game is if that game doesn't do well, then you're not going to do well. It's kind of like tied together.
100%.
I also have a cat.
Oh,
his name is Hot.
Don't forget about the doggies as well.
And the doggies, yeah. I have 2 little doggies. One of them sits behind me, so you might see her just pop up every now and then. And then the other one kind of like runs around, chases the dog.
That's so cute.
That's me.
Oh, and before that, before you did World of Warcraft videos, you did her dye videos.
Why did you out me? Yeah, I was the scene kid who would dye her hair, record it, speed it up, and stick Nightcore over it. I actually, there's a video that I did back in the day that got 500,000 views, and it was how to remove blue hair dye without bleach. It was a lie. Never watched the video. I bleached my hair. I just didn't tell anyone. Yeah, so that was a cringy part of my life. Thanks for that, Queenie.
So you're a scammer, Is that what you said?
Basically,
mortal enemies
if I was a video
Gonna make a
game,
new
Callum
video.
would make a video about me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So we'll move on then to Josh as well. You want to go ahead, introduce yourself and your channel?
Thank you very much, Queenie. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome. I'm JoshStrifeHayes. I run a couple of YouTube channels and I focus mainly on MMORPGs, massively multiplayer online role-playing games. I try and cover as many MMOs as I can, from Final Fantasy XIV, World of Warcraft, Elder Scrolls Online, Guild Wars 2, RuneScape, Terra, until I decided to kill it. And then on the second YouTube channel, I do retro game reviews from the PlayStation 1, N64, Dreamcast, Sega Saturn era, like that. I also stream on Twitch, and while I started streaming MMORPGs, MMOs are actually quite difficult to stream because a lot of the content in them is very repetitive. So recently, I've actually been going through and replaying with votes from you guys the old fighting fantasy novels, the ones where you, if you want to go left, turn to this page, and if you want to go right, turn to that page. And it's been really good fun using the votes from everyone in the stream to choose it. So my channel is about playing MMOs, both good and bad. Second channel is about reviewing retro stuff, and the Twitch stream is about playing either silly old games or going on random crazy adventures together. And it's proven remarkably successful, and I've had a really good time.
That makes sense. Yeah, I mean, I didn't realize you just you focus mostly on MMOs as well, but also the other channel that focuses on like sort of older style games. It doesn't sort of surprise me. I think like they sort of go hand in hand. A lot of people who play MMOs do play a lot of older games as well to chill out on. Find that a lot recently.
Yes, I think it's because the MMORPG golden age people like to talk about was around EverQuest, Ultima Online, and World of Warcraft around 2004. And because MMORPGs demand a lot of time, the time investment is absolutely huge. I mean, 100 hours is nothing to an MMORPG player, but you could complete 10 older games in that time. If you're the kind of person that's willing to put multiple hours into video games, chances are you're going to get burnt out of an MMO and say, hey, I'm going to play a PlayStation game for a bit. I'm going to play a PS2 game. I'm going to go and play some Xbox games for a bit. People in the chat are saying, does anyone remember Metin 2? Yes, Dostal, I do. I've got an entire video where I reviewed Metin 2. It's definitely not aged well, but it's still one of the most popular MMORPGs in Europe.
Actually, I have a question. Have you played Eve?
Eve is one of the games I'm too scared to touch. I am aware that there are certain player bases that you don't anger. Like, I'm not particularly scared about angering the Metin 2 player base because I could probably deal with both of them. But if I was to anger the Eve player base, I fear that I would wake up somewhere in a distant country and, you know, I'd be tied to a chair and they'd be there going, so you didn't like spreadsheets in space, did you? Why didn't you explain yourself? And I'm like, there are a couple of communities that I know that I need to put far more hours into before I can respectfully make a video on them. And Eve is definitely one of them.
How can you kill that which has no life?
Exactly.
I played it for 3 months, streamed it for 3 months, and I definitely angered a lot of them. I learned the hard way that some of them, they'll hate you from the get-go just for streaming and playing it. You can never win in that game category. So half of them are really nice, but then the other half, you anger them or say even one thing they don't like, hate you forever. So I completely agree with that. It's a hard community to keep, chill with. It's very hard.
That's like the WoW community, except if you say anything positive about it.
Yeah.
So Ivy, if you want to go ahead, introduce yourself and your channel, please, that'd be fantastic.
Okay, thank you very much. It's kind of going to be difficult. Everybody has like such an impressive kind of activity that they're doing, which is great. I'm Commander Ivy, also known as Lena, and I'm a variety caster on Twitch. I used to be a full-time Twitch streamer until I also became a part-time community manager for a game developing company, for an indie game developing company, Kyokin Interactive. So I'm part-time working as community manager these days, part-time streaming on Twitch. As a content creator, I've always focused on variety, single player, story-based games. I like to immerse myself into the story, kind of relive it as if I am being part of it, always trying to make sure that my community is enjoying it as much as I do, allowing them to decide some of the outcomes sometimes, which I always regret in the end, especially that was happening lately with As Dusk Falls. We are going down the slippery slope there. And I am a huge space nerd. I'm also famous for co-streaming some of the NASA streams, some of the SpaceX launches. Whenever there is a launch happens, whenever I'm live, I'm saying, okay, we're going to watch it. We're going to watch it together. And some of the most memorable moments happened when we watched some of those amazing landings or launches or dockings to the International Space Station together. And a lot of my community actually knew nothing about it before they kind of stumbled upon me streaming that. So this is me playing games and also trying to get more people into a space nerd community there.
Yeah, congrats. By the way, I didn't get to say it, but congrats on the community role job that you got. I don't know how long you've been in it now, but I remember like looking and saying, oh my god, actually you've got into the industry now as well. Like not just streaming, but also into the community side as well.
Yeah, it's going to be a year in October, which is very soon. Yeah, it's kind of insane how it's been that long.
Yeah, especially with like you moving as well, because you've had to move country. Like I'm assuming that's like so you've done community management, you've been streaming, and you've been moving. That's a lot to have on in one go.
That was a lot to handle. That was the ultimate challenge of my life. You should have seen the setups that I've been streaming on and working from, because I went from the 2 PC amazing setup and I had to leave everything behind, because when you move countries, you kind of take the essentials with you. And starting from the very beginning, when you only have a laptop, a DSLR, and a microphone with no stand, it was fun times. It kind of reminded me why I love doing what I love doing. It took me all the way back to the early days.
You've been massively adaptable throughout it.
Yeah, I think I know how to stream from a tent now. As long as it has internet, I'll be able to stream from there. That's the skill that I've gained.
It's definitely something that I think we all probably need to start looking at, because you never know where you're going to be. And to be honest, they're the most interesting streams anyway. Like you're like the next day, right, guys, I'm streaming in a tent. And your Twitch chat like, well, this is definitely different. Okay, sweet. It's never going to be bored. It's not going to be boring, you know?
While I was moving, I switched so many Airbnbs and my background was always different. So my community were like, where are you now? Where in the world are you? This is a different place. I'm like, don't even ask. I'm on my way to somewhere more permanent.
Thank you very much. Bongi, if you want to go ahead and tell us about your channel. I know yours is going to be quite a long one, considering how long you've been in the industry.
No. My name's Bong. I'm one of 2 angry gamers. I run the channel with Tommy. We've been partnered for about 9 years. I like long walks on the beach. I've been playing games for as long as I can remember. I've got a degree in computer games design. I used to program iPhone games, and I've been streaming for nearly 10 years. Well, yeah, a long time. I live on the main road. Sorry. Yeah, I mean, we're literally variety, true variety. We play anything from Mario Kart to Star Citizen to Battlefield to Age of Empires, occasionally dabbling in MMOs, but yeah, I don't actually, weirdly, play games for a living, but don't have the time for MMOs anymore.
No one has the time for MMOs.
Yeah.
Oh.
Legend of Mir, a Korean MMO, cost me my GCSEs. Final Fantasy 11 nearly cost me my degree. And I'm pretty much max level on everything on Final Fantasy 14, but after the most recent expansion, I haven't really touched it but they are adding a farm, so
a farm, you say?
Yeah. There's like farming you can do. You have a little island, and you can do some farming on that. And
it's the same as Albion.
It may well hook me back in, but we'll see. Yeah, we play True Variety, and we're live 6 days a week, and there's 2 of us, which is very novel. Obviously, you know, nobody here will have ever seen that before. So yeah, that's our USP. Old men who get angry at games, and there's 2 of us. Enjoy.
Do you know what? I think a lot of us actually have a lot of experience in MMOs then, surprisingly. So that's going to be an interesting conversation. We get round to that a little bit more, especially in the games industry, considering Diablo. But we won't get into that now, considering we sort of touched on it earlier in chat, and that's always a tough subject to speak about. But Yeah, I think we already answered the second question then, because I was going to ask what and when you got into content creation. We sort of touched on it a little bit, but I'll probably go first. We started 7 years ago. I think it's 2015 now. 7 years ago. Yeah, definitely math's working. But we started 7 years ago, and we started off as a couple stream. We still do couple streams, me and Blue, but not as often because he got ill about 3 years ago. Came off. He's got basically anemia, and he's very fatigued. So he sort of like came off stream, and instead he became more of like an agent side, technical side, sorts out everything, art side. He does all that stuff that probably is not so easy for a solo streamer to do. It might take months to do. We can do literally in like a day, thanks to him. So we sort of went off on that. But the reason why we sort of started was because we didn't have a hobby that we shared. We met on Battlefield 4/Battlefield 3 when I was running Battlefield 3 and Battlefield 4 tournaments. Back then when nobody else was. This was a long time ago. It was messy, difficult, but it was a weird time, especially in Battlefield because there's a lot of communities. And you were trying to get them all together and stuff and sort it out. But that's how we met, and we sort of were like, well, we're going to have a hobby together. What can we do? The tournament was definitely not something to run together. We were like, well, we can start content creation together. And it wasn't supposed to be a job. It never was supposed to be that way. It somehow turned out that way after a couple of years in. And but a year and a half in, we got Twitch partnered, and we just were like, well, we're going to give it a go. We're going to try, and eventually after another year and a half after we got partnered, we could go full time, and that's sort of where we ended up, and we continued on with it. But it wasn't a plan, I think, ever to fully stay here. In fact, we didn't even think it was possible back then to be a full-time creator, unless you're like one of the really large creators back then, who, you know, were one of the first creators on Twitch. And we just said, okay, it's not possible for us, but it worked out in the end. So I think I don't think many people get into content creation so that it's going to be a job. I think most people start for fun, and it somehow ends up that way. But if you just want to go ahead, Ivy, if you want to start. I don't know how you got into it, but it sort of just fell in for us, I think.
I think I can relate to that when I just kind of I fell into it accidentally. I was always a huge gamer, and Mass Effect trilogy is my favorite game in the world. And I was, in 2016, I was kind of sort of working, doing some freelance for a website. And that website wanted to increase their audience, and they decided that they want to have a channel on Twitch, and they were looking for people who are also gamers and who also want to show up at a certain spot once a week, every once in a while, and do some streams and gaming. And they asked me, and I said, I've never done that before, but I mean, that could be fun, so let me try. So I went ahead, and I'm like, okay, what am I going to be playing? Y'all are big on the MMO. I was never there, so I'm gonna go with my guide, and I'm gonna go and, you know, stream Mass Effect. And people who were modding for the channel, they approached me after, and they said, you are doing really good at that. We're seeing way higher numbers than before. How come you don't create your own channel and do that, you know, try that? And I said, well, why not? And for the longest of times, I think for the first 2.5, 3 years, I did that part-time because I had a 40-hour work weeks, and I switched several jobs, and it was kind of like a way for me to go and play my favorite games, but have people show up and have fun with me. And I knew nothing about networking because it was never supposed to be a career. It was supposed to be kind of like an outlet, a way for me to play with someone, because I also moved cities back in the day, and there were no gamers around me, which felt very lonely to be a nerd among those people. And eventually it all picked up. And one of those days I said, you know what? I'm just going to try it. I'm just going to take a leap. I'm just going to go and be a full-time content creator and see how it goes, because I realized that I want to be in the gaming industry. And then it just picked up from then on. And I also built my community on Mass Effect, so it was always the right kind of audience, people who are passionate about their solo games. And yeah, there we are. And also eventually now it kind of grew into me being in the industry, in the gaming industry, being on the other side of things now too. But as you said, it started as a hobby, something that I did for fun, never did it for the money, you know, and it kind of just, it all happened, I guess, over time.
It makes sense. You got a Mass Effect tattoo, don't you?
Yeah, I have a full sleeve. It's you know, it's
That
is
right
awesome.
there. It's my
That's amazing.
yeah,
so cool.
it's thank you. Yeah, so I'm just like, my dedication for that game went beyond, you know, anything that I went through 10 months of suffering and getting the sleeve.
That's amazing. How many hours was it in total to get that sleeve?
Every session was around 6-7 hours, so that's around what, 70 hours.
Jeez. That would be massively painful as well to get that.
No regrets. That is so worth it. That is the best icebreaker I can ever think of. This is like, I go somewhere and people see it and it's icebreaker, instant conversation topic. So yeah.
Thank you very much. Well, actually, I do want to hear this bongies because there's two of yous. So don't look at me like that. You look like you're in pain when I asked you that. But yeah, you have to tell us, how exactly did you two get a stream? Well, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it's kind of similar to you guys already saying that we did kind of fall into it. It was a hobby. We really good friends with a YouTuber called Jack Frags. We've known him since high school, and I would just just before I quit my job, Tommy was in Thailand teaching English as a second language. I was working as an iPhone developer, but Jack was starting to make some money on YouTube, and we were like, well, hang on, we can do that. So then we started a bit of a YouTube, and we were I think we were putting like co-op Fear playthroughs on YouTube and things like that. And we grew a bit, you know, like 12,000 subs, something like that. 2014, I kind of got sick of the job I was in, quit. Tommy came home from Thailand. He was out of a job. And so we were like, well, should we just put all of our time for like 6 months into this, see what happens? And it grew and grew and grew, and now we're here 10 years later. So really, it was a hobby that I never really intended to be a job. But, you know, I knew that there was the potential was there, but I never expected it. And honestly, 90% of becoming a successful streamer is pure luck. But the other 10% is knowing how to capitalize on that luck. Like when you get that little break, that little viral moment, like being able to quickly clip it, like ship it and get people to see it and get that, capitalize on that viral moment, then kind of that can catapult you. You know, the amount of followers we've got in 10 years, somebody can get in a day with the right viral clip. So being able to take advantage of that is it is huge. But in terms of us, we've just been doing us, playing games, not really caring about like you know, we want to put out quality stream and entertain people, but it's never really been like, oh, I want to be like a super famous streamer. I couldn't give a shit, to be honest. Sorry, are we allowed to swear?
I think so. I think
yeah.
shit's fine. Yeah,
Shit,
I've said worse.
Fucking bugger, is that fine?
Yeah,
but,
fine.
So yeah, so it's never really been about like I wanted to stream because I wanted to become a big streamer or a big content creator. I just wanted to stream because that's something I wanted to do as a hobby, and it's always thankfully grown in the right direction, and it's been able to support me and Tommy.
Yeah, and it's worked out. It's worked out. I think when we looked at it, we just thought, okay, because I think you're 2 years, nearly 3 years, your channel's older than ours. And when we started, we seen a massive amount of content creators, and we were like, there's no way you could make this a full-time job.
Yeah, it was 2014 where we started streaming on Twitch, and I think we got partnered within like 3 months. But we did have like a bit of a leg up because we had the YouTube, so we had 12,000 subs, and we did like videos on YouTube to go, hey, we're going to stream on Twitch. Because Twitch was so new, I think we did like Titanfall 1, and we did like a 24-hour stream of that when it came out, and a few other things. And so we started with like 50 concurrent viewers, which obviously is like a huge leg up even like now, but compare that to 2014 when there wasn't as many competitors on the platform. Then we kind of had that little in to get us onto basically if you're in the top 3 streamers on a category, you're actually going to get organic views, organic followers. If you're 29th on the category, there's a low chance that somebody's going to find your stream organically. Yeah. So we just got lucky with the timing and the fact that we already had a bit of a following from YouTube.
And I think on top of that, I think when you got partnered, then it was because I remember the rules back then, because I did watch Twitch, it was 500 viewers to get partnered. Yeah,
or it was based on like your YouTube channel size as well, because Twitch were desperate to kind of pull viewers from YouTube across to Twitch.
Yeah.
So it was, yeah, I mean, we just applied and then we got it. Like, it was a long time ago now. And then really for the games industry for us to kind of get the foot in the door was Gamescom 2014. Me and Tommy were like, oh, we should go to this Gamescom thing. So we booked an Airbnb, which was essentially a kind of like a concrete cell. The pillows was literally a pillowcase stuffed with like tea towels.
Oh.
I'm not joking. And then we woke up like the morning, and there was just 3 other people in the flat, like and I was like, what? And I didn't know there was other people staying in this place. So it was like dirt cheap. We did it like on a full shoestring budget. And then we didn't know anyone in the industry. So we went in on the press day with our little YouTuber press badges. And we went into the press area and we just stood around outside. I think it was 2K. And I heard like some guy saying, oh, I've got a meeting with Jan. Da, 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 da. And so I just went up and said, yeah, I've got a meeting with Jan. And we just fully blagged our way through into like their area. I do not recommend anybody do this because we should have been ousted for this. But it worked for us. Basically confidence and gutsiness and just sticking your foot in the door. And yeah, we made inroads and we made friends in those little business lounges, and they were like, "Oh, come tomorrow and check out our game." Da da da. And then that's how we built relationships in the games industry. You know, after that first Gamescom, they were much more legitimate business relationships that we made. But yeah, like a bit of cheekiness went a long way.
It works. At the end of the day, that's exactly how you do it. Like, I think we get a lot of people coming up and asking. I think everybody does in this channel, right? At this point, we get a lot of people coming up and says, "How do you get a contact for this? How do you get a contact for that?" Literally going up and asking at this point. And if you have to sort of, meet somebody else, that's just sort of part of it. You have to sort of sell yourself in a this is your personality. And some people are like, okay, they've got one personality on screen, and then off screen it might be harder for them to show that, but it is 100% worth it. It's always something that you sort of have to do and have to learn, and I think it is a skill at that point. It's not something you're sort of born with. You have to go out and do it to learn it.
You've got to be a pair of cheeky bastards, really. Yeah.
You have to be. Yeah, you have to be cheeky.
I was about to ask, because, I mean, Queenie, you started as a pair streamer, as a couple streamer, right? And then also you guys started together. Does it help having someone by your side, knowing that you're not alone, that you're kind of there, you have a buddy, somebody who has your back? Does it help with the confidence and, moving and approaching people, or
no, I don't think so.
Get in the way?
I don't think so. It depends. We're a couple, and obviously Tommy and Bongi are friends,
yeah,
right?
We are friends. We're not romantically engaged. Nor are we brothers, or like, I mean, the amount of things that we've been asked over the years, like, I think there was like a meme of like people would just come in and be like, "Oh, are you married brothers?" and things like that. Yeah, we are. Yeah, we've been together for 90 years. Yeah, but no, there's advantages and disadvantages to being a duo, right? Like, one of you can take a holiday and the other one can keep the stream going. So that's a huge bonus. A negative might be that you've got to split everything 50-50, so you don't quite make as much as a channel of the exact same size that only has one person. So ultimately, I think we're much stronger together because Tommy's got advantages where I don't. I've got advantages where he doesn't. So I think it's been an advantage, certainly. And like, Tommy's really good at making friends when drunk at parties, whereas I'm a bit more introverted, so I don't. He makes a lot of really good business connections that maybe I wouldn't have without him.
Yeah, that's a really good point. Me and Simon definitely have different strengths and advantages. Like, for example, you never get me to send emails. They're literally one line, like, that's about it. And sometimes I forget Simon's name, but Simon is literally very much bullet points. Everything's very precise, on point. Like, we are very opposites. I'm very, like, to the point where it's probably a fault. I'm very Irish. I'm very blunt. I swear a lot. And Simon's very English, where everything has to be very precise. Everything has to be perfect, type of thing. And it is very, very opposites. But streaming on stream was never easy because I think of that, because we had very opposites. We couldn't read each other's minds, and we went into a stage where it was hard to figure out what that person was trying to guide towards the content. And you can't say it on stream because especially if you RP, and we were sort of like half RPers, half bandits type of thing back in DayZ. And that was so hard to do because you're trying to figure out, what is he gonna do next? Like, we ran people over with buses and stuff, and we just did silly things, but it was hard to try and, it's like look at you and look at him and be like, we're thinking the same thing, aren't we? Yes, and we do completely different things. We weren't thinking the exact same. It just did not work out that way.
I've known Tommy since the first day of high school when I was 13, so I've got quite a long friendship with him. So I think that like we don't have that barrier as much, just because we know each other really well. So when I can see when Tom's kind of purposely trying to sabotage something, or when he wants to do a captain's joke, which means killing me in Sea of Thieves. So yeah, like there's little cues that we can pick up on with each other, and I think the longer that friendship's been there, the longer that relationship's been there, then it becomes easier.
Oh yeah, I think that's definitely a thing. I would agree. I can't read Simon at all, and that's just me. I think I just can't, because he's very much focused on like certain types of content, so I can never read it, but he can read me down to a T. He knows exactly what I'm going to do. Maybe I'm just bad at reading him, but he will know exactly what I'm doing and when I'm going to, what I'm going to do. Like if I'm going to kill somebody, he looks at me and he's like, she's going to kill this person. She's kidnapped them, but she's going to kill them. And I'll look at Simon and he'll be like, I don't want to kill this person. I don't want to do it. But she's going to kill them anyway. So he'll know exactly what I'm going to do. It is quite nice that way, but it can be very, I think for me, I think it can be very much like scattered. It's hard to do. I say the hardest thing is RP, but if you're doing something like normal sort of FPS games, probably pretty much easy enough, but I think RPing is difficult. I would love to give it another crack, I think, for RP wise, GTRP, and I think it would really, really work. But I think that would be same thing where you'd have to sort of be like, look at each other and be like, what I'm gonna do is what I planned. But yeah, well, Josh, you want to go ahead and I've lost track of where we were, but when and what got you into content creation?
I've had a lot of very strange jobs over my life. I've been in a lot of strange situations, and I've taken the initiative and just said, hey, can I have a job? And it turns out that a lot of people, when you say this, say yes. Or I just happened to be in a situation where a lot of people were very desperate and I happened to be there at the right time. So I went to play a game of paintball with a few friends, and at the end of the day I said, you guys got any jobs going? And they went, yeah, we have. So I was a paintball marshal for a year, and then I went to drive some go-karts for a bit, and at the end of the day I said, do you have any jobs going? And they went, yeah. So I was a go-kart mechanic for a year, and then I was a martial arts instructor for about a year, and I worked in a warehouse. And then I was a drone flyer. You know when you walk into a toy shop and there's like an annoying helicopter just flying above your head that someone's trying to sell? I was the guy in the corner of the shop flying the helicopter for a while. And then I thought, I don't want to get a real job. I'm going to be an actor, because that sounds like a fun thing. You can just dress up and play with swords and get all the stage props. That sounds fun. So I went to university to study to be an actor. And it turns out that the worst thing you can do if you want to get involved in the world of acting is go and study to be an actor, because you spend 3 years looking at the theory behind it. So, following the route of every trained actor, I went to go and become a teacher, because that's what you have to do. You have to do your time teaching acting before you're allowed to do any acting. And I was teaching for a couple of years before I thought, I don't like this, because I don't have the freedom to teach what I think is valuable and important. I have to follow the curriculum. So every day I would come home from teaching and I would play MMORPG games. I would play Neverwinter, I would play Terror, I would play Final Fantasy, I would play World of Warcraft. And I couldn't do all the things I wanted to do in the games. So I started watching guides on YouTube, and I thought, there aren't that many guides on YouTube that are explaining things to the level of detail that I would like. I've got a basic computer. I can make guides. I've been a teacher for a long time. I know the basic process of explaining something to someone, laying the foundations and then slowly building on top of them. So I started to make guides. Here's how you do this. Here's how you do that. Then I started streaming for a bit because it was fun. I never intended it to be anything. It was always enjoyable because it tied into the acting, but the guide creation allowed me to use my skills as a teacher, and Twitch allowed me to use my skills as an entertainer. The guides did relatively well. They were getting a couple of views, 10, 20,000. It was nice for me. It wasn't a job yet, but it was good. And then finally, I started to find some roles in theatre. I was able to play Dorian Gray. I was able to play Robin Hood. I was able to play Cool Hand Luke, all these really cool things that I enjoyed. And then COVID hit, and all the theatres and all of the TV shows and all of the films shut down. And suddenly, all of the outside artistic creation-based jobs heavily limited. So I thought, okay, I'm going to turn all of my skills now to just making guides, because these guides were doing quite well. And I was making guides and they were doing okay. But if there's one thing people love more than seeing something good, it's seeing something bad. And while I was reviewing and researching all these guides, I was getting sidebar banner ads on all the websites I was going to for those games like League of Angels or Evany. And it was like, help me, my lord. And it was some scantily clad angel. And I thought, how bad are these games? Because I see adverts for them everywhere, but no one plays them. Maybe I could do that. So I started to download all of them, and I really don't want to think how many things I gave my old computer, but I just downloaded. If I could find a bad MMO, and believe me, there are lots, I downloaded it, and I played them for hours and hours and hours, and I made a review called Worst MMO Ever, League of Angels, and it was bad. And someone said, oh, that's quite good. You should do that for other games. So then I went to Steam, and I searched by MMO, and I searched by user rating. And I scrolled all the way to the bottom, and I started playing them. And I started playing them for hours and hours and hours, and then I started reviewing them and editing them into videos, and now we're on episode 70 of the series Worst MMO Ever. The Twitch stream has picked up. People love watching the terrible videos about the terrible MMOs. Some of them are on millions of views. And that's my life now.
So you're a masochist.
I'd love to play good MMOs. I'd love to wake up and go, "Ooh, it's time for some Final Fantasy 14," or "Ooh, it's time for a day of the Elder Scrolls Online." And someone will go, "No, you're playing Swords of Legend online for 12 hours. Quick, jump at that wall for 3 hours and see if you can clip out of bounds, because that'll make content." So I fell into YouTube because I had a passion for making guides, and then I decided to share my ability to teach and entertain with the worst games I could find. And that has taken off to such a degree, I can now do it full time. And I love it very, very much.
Yeah, that's definitely a very interesting one there. Yeah, do you know what? Out of all the game categories, MMOs probably have got the worst. They've got the worst, like, built games. So I'm not surprised people want to see them and hear them.
When I was writing the script about it, I've spoken. The video that I'm editing now is one of the biggest projects I've ever worked on. I contacted 14 other content creators known in the MMORPG space or general entertaining creators who have touched on MMORPGs like Nerdslayer or Many Kudos or Asmongold. Even Callum and Rage are involved in this as well. And I've done a 2-hour documentary on the trials and tribulations that content creators face when working in the MMORPG space. It's going to be my biggest video yet. But what I realized was there are no other forms of media so self-indulgent that they expect a user to slog through an inferior experience in order to reward them with the superior experience. No film or TV show or book goes, yeah, I know the opening is terrible, but you've got to endure it to be worthy of the ending. It's almost like someone going, hey, watch this TV show. The first 3 seasons are terrible, but it gets good in season 4. And I'm thinking, start with season 4 then. And they go, oh, no, you don't deserve that. You need to earn season 4. You need to get there. You need to put the time in. It's almost like this horrific badge of honor, this mutual suffering that whenever you get the end game players, they all look and go, oh, the first 100 hours was a bit crap, wasn't it? And then a new player comes along and goes, hey, can I join you guys? And they're like, no, play the first 100 hours. Earn your spot with us.
Torture
and
yourself.
Then they wonder why the player bases are slowly dropping. I think there needs to be a very, very deep systemic change in the way that MMOs are programmed. Endgame doesn't begin at the end of the game. Endgame begins the moment you start playing the game, and when you finish a skill, that's not the moment the skill opens up. That's the moment you finish. Like when you hit 99 fishing in RuneScape, you don't think, oh boy, I can finally start fishing. You think, thank God I can stop fishing. And then you go and do something else.
Great. What were you going to say, Bongi, by the way?
I was just going to say, it just reminded me of Indie Horror Quest, which is something Tommy does on Wednesday evenings, where he picks the worst horror games found on Steam Greenlight, and there's just thousands and thousands of university students who make horror games on Steam, and it's the same kind of thing of they're just so bad they're good.
Yeah.
And it was reminding me of that.
It's like watching The Room.
Asset switches.
Yeah, it's like watching a train wreck in slow motion. It's just beautiful.
Yeah, I think I've forced everybody I know to watch The Room because it's such a bad film. It's hilarious just to watch.
I watched that recently.
It
I
is good.
love that.
Yeah.
That is one of my favorite worst movies. And I'm gonna boast, but I have Tommy Wiseau's autograph. Like I have his picture that is signed.
Oh, hi, Mark.
Lena, Love is Blind.
Hi,
and
doggy.
then it's his sign. Oh, hi, Mark. I love that. And that is the thing that allows me to bond with people, content creators and colleagues. Like me and my colleague, when I was in the Netherlands, we sat at lunch and we just started randomly quoting that movie. And we just sat there talking, conversing with the Room quotes. So, yes.
So, it's Callum next, right?
Ooh. Yeah, I think so. Yeah, my journey on YouTube and Twitch has been a very strange, unfortunate series of events. Well, fortunate, depending how you look at it. But it started out, I had been working, building ambulances during COVID. Yeah, don't ask me how that happened. It was kind of like Josh says, where you just go, have you got a job? And they just go, yeah. So yeah, I was building ambulances. COVID died down a bit, and they just laid off everybody because no more need for ambulances. So around that time, I'd seen an advertisement on Facebook for a game that many people probably now know, Dream World, promising to be the world's biggest MMO, the last game you'll ever play. And it was a strange one. I was looking at it and I was like, this is obviously a scam. And the more I looked into it as a game developer, I could just see it was everything was wrong. Nothing, it didn't add up. And about a week later, a friend of mine messaged me saying, hey, have you seen this cool game? And then they linked me Dream World. And I'm like, oh, okay, people are actually falling for this. So I made a video explaining exactly why it's a scam, why what they've said they're going to be doing isn't possible, such as millions of players all on a single server, and many other things. Like it's you can't count the amount of things they said that were just complete nonsense. It hurts your head. And the video did really well. It got 45k views on my first ever video, and I wasn't intending to become a YouTuber or streamer. This was in my head. It was, I'll post a video, hopefully stop some people getting scammed, because nobody had covered it at this point, but it was racking up a lot of backers on Kickstarter. And then someone else said, hey, have you seen what they've done last week? And I was like, okay, we'll take a look at it. And it just kind of snowballed from there. And obviously being out of a job, it just naturally became a job in the next few months.
That's amazing.
Hey, that works
Yeah.
out. I mean, at this point, you're helping people avoid a scam, and you made a career of it.
It worked out very well, yeah. And then off of the back of that, I got challenged to make a better version of Dream World. I've got this really bad habit that if someone says, bet you couldn't do it, I'll just be like, oh, sit down.
Callum has made 3 things out of spite. Like, not even just motivation. Someone just said, Callum, you can't do this. And he went, I'm going to do it even better than you. And then came back in like 3 days and went, all right, I'm done. What else can't I do?
Yeah, it kind of naturally evolved from that. But it's ended up with me starting my own game studio, making our own MMO. And yeah, so it's just led to a lot of things. And then now we're here. I've been doing it for 1 year and 3 months, I think. Somehow it's a full-time job. I'll just go with it, you know?
You're a baby.
I am. I'm just tripping over my own feet still.
I was always impressed that you remade Marbles on stream, because Callum was streaming Marbles on stream, which is an excellent Twitch game for interaction. It's a big marble race where every user has a little named marble. And you contacted the developers, didn't you, Cal? And you said,
Yeah.
hey, I'm a pretty successful streamer. Can I maybe have a stream marble, a little skin on top of it, a little cool coloured marble? And they went, yeah, but you've got to stream this many hours and get this many views and this many thing. And it was too complicated. So you kind of went, I'll do it myself.
Yeah, pretty much.
And
No,
you
I mean,
remade the physics, didn't you?
Oh, I remade the game working exactly how it did. I mean, they weren't impressed with it. They were actually quite angry about that. But yeah, I did get that kind of like the staring eyes of do not publish this, which I didn't intend to, but it was good fun. I think we did it in what, 24 hours? Something like that.
Important question. Did it result in you getting a streamer marble in the actual Marbles on Stream game, or are you...
So no, it didn't. didn't achieve that, but now I think it's actually swung the other way, and I'll never get a marble skin.
Because I think I would have been impressed and said, okay, you went, you know, and then created something because you wanted it so much. So okay, sure, just for the achievement there, but yeah.
Yeah, no, they didn't see it that way.
Injustice.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna lie. I just told them I wanted one. I just told them I wanted one. Yeah, I said, listen, we're going to be playing marbles, and we're going to be probably on like front page because we're just chilling for one of the days. Can I have a marble? And he said, yep. I'm like, yep. And that was just the conversation.
Oh.
And that was it. But this was like early on marbles before you would have found it. And this was when they were like, we need streamers to stream this game. And then I from what I heard, a friend of mine applied, and then they were charging for it. To create a marble for a while. This is what I was told. I don't know if it's actually true, but they were charging for it. And then obviously that was slightly before you. And then obviously whatever happened, they were like, okay, we can't charge for marbles. So I'm not entirely sure. Oh yeah, well, there you go. Rickety says $150 what it was for designing a marble.
Yeah, supposed to be like a backer kind of donation. Like you had to back the development to get your face on a marble. Yeah, that was a thing.
Yeah.
Oh, you got your face on a marble. I'd have backed for that. There are some horrible photos of my face on the internet thanks to YouTube now.
Callum, I have a question. In your own marble game, were every marbles with your face on them? Oh
my god, there actually was. Do you know, I didn't even think about this. So we got, I was asking like my community for submissions for skins. I gave them like a Minecraft skin template layout, and I was like, do what you want on it. And someone took a picture of my face that was used on our game jam from about 6 months ago that has been screenshot so many times that it's just like a deep fried image now. And that was on a marble along with the creators of many scam games, which is, I think that the legality of that's probably questionable now that I think about it. But yeah.
The legality of a lot of what you do is questionable. You seem to err on that line of people look at you and go, is that legal? And like, yeah, I don't think anyone knows enough. But no one's yet.
It's never been a question. No one's ever had to ask, is this legal? Because it's probably never happened. But no, I use my devilish charm to get me out of it.
It's easier to ask for forgiveness than permission.
He gets it. He gets it.
Actually, that's it. So what you're telling us is your face was on a whole lot of people's balls. That's what you're telling us,
Yeah,
Callum.
and I mean, yeah, and then we made marbles. And yeah. Just a natural progression.
Yeah, I definitely didn't put my face in a marble just for that reason. Because I knew this joke was going to come up a couple of times. But people did do it. I seen a few streamers' faces on the marbles, and I was like, that's going to go into a world of crazy, crazy jokes right there. But yeah, I didn't actually know you did the marbles. I knew you did Earth 2.
Yeah.
Because that guy 100% deserved it as well. Like, he was a really bad guy by the looks of it. Like, I haven't seen the latest,
but villain, but like not very coherent to any of it.
He was awful.
Yeah.
Oh my god. Yeah, and he's still going as well.
Yeah. Well, he apparently released a big statement recently that's kind of him skirting around admitting defeat on the project. I haven't looked into this yet. I plan to do it tonight. But it's. Yeah, I don't really know what more to say about Earth 2. It's one of those things where it's like, you see this thing from the future that you know is nonsense right now and probably nonsense in 20 years. And then somebody just goes, completed it, mate. But they want money first before they show you that they've completed it. That's the important part. Yeah, it just makes no sense.
I think the biggest issue that I seen with him was like he wouldn't say what it was. He wouldn't clarify if it was a game, wouldn't clarify if it was an NFT. He just would not. He refused to say what Earth 2 was. And I was just like, when I was watching his video, I was like, well, yeah, you haven't said what it is. You just said a whole lot of fancy words. You find the dictionary, you've read them out, and you're trying to confuse these, you know.
Queenie, if you want some entertainment, go in their Discord, right?
Oh, God.
No. And ask them what the game is. Just say, what is the game, by the way? It's like throwing meat into a lion pit. It's carnage. None of them can agree. They're all calling each other out. There's some people flinging poo across the arena at each other. It's a mess.
I'll do this on stream one day. I'll do this just for the lols, because I just sit there and wait for Steam scammers to message me, and I send the pictures of goldfishes and stuff. So yeah, this sounds great. I'll do that, no problem. Just for the lols to see what we can come up with.
Top tier
a good idea.
entertainment. It really is.
Rage, I think you are next.
Yeah, so I don't do anything cool like that. Sorry.
Technically, you do a
How can I
lot.
follow it with that? All right, yeah. So I slammed my head against the wall for 7 years, trying to be a bean within the internet space. I think I'm the kid on the block that everyone's kind of annoyed at. I'm like, hey, can they come out to play? And then everyone's like, no. Everyone being all my friends who are partnered on Twitch, and it took me a while, man, to get partnered. Anyways, so let's jump back. I was a YouTube kid. I used to love Dan Is Not on Fire, an amazing film. Love those guys. I used to watch Hey Leader Bear. She was like a scene queen from Canada, I think. And then I started like basically grabbing a camera and making these really awful skits. I remember one time me and my friend made a Evanescence music video where she was a zombie and I was a regular person, and I used to play electric guitar really badly because I wanted to be like in a band. So I took the electric guitar and for one of the shots I like hit her over the head with it, but I like misjudged her head and it hit her head. But we got it all on camera and I was like, I'm really sorry, but that's a really good clip. So it went in the video. Then I asked my mum if she would record me like being beaten by the zombies. So she was like, yeah, fine. So she went outside with me and I just laid on the floor on the middle of the road and she started recording. And we did the scene. We were like, go, go, go. I laid on the floor. And she just goes, Jessica, get up off the floor. Your jeans. And I'm like, Mother, please. So she was concerned about the dirty jeans. So that's kind of like, I'll give you that as a base for my YouTube videos. That's what they were like for like 5 years. Somehow I managed to get 10,000 subscribers from it. I remember my 1,000 subscriber special was wearing a Pikachu onesie just like that and just flossing. And what was it? One of the Adele songs. You know the one that's like, I mean nothing but the best for you.
How are you actually a YouTuber? This is making it more confusing now.
How have you not went viral?
The way that you said your mom spoke to you when you were like, you were a scene queen, and you were like, Mother, I'm making content for the YouTubes. Please continue to film me.
Yeah, my username was Love for the Emo.
Oh,
I love that. That hits home.
Yeah, like that was me. And I used to be like, hey guys, it's Love for the Emo. And my friends to this day will still take the mick out of me. That's why my intro is, hey guys, it's Rage, because it's always like stuck. But yeah, it was, hey guys, it's Love for the Emo. Yeah, so that was kind of like my content. I remember doing, I remember being a worm on the floor. That was my like 5,000 subscriber special. I told my mum I was pregnant for a dare. That was horrific. That was, I think, 100 subscriber special. Yeah. I also snapped my GTA 5 disc back in like 2014, I think, when it first came out. I did a lot of terrible things for YouTube. A lot of the stuff is still there. If you go digging for it, please don't.
Some of them are already. I can tell your actual some of your mods I think are in here, and they are already searching. So
And now you're wasting people's time with Guild Wars 2's jumping puzzles.
Yes. So now I'm taking the same horrifically cringy and sporadic energy and just pummeling it into video games. So I, started off doing World of Warcraft. No, I started off doing Overwatch because I did a Tracer cosplay. I went all around the UK with my Tracer cosplay, put too much fucking money into that. Then Overwatch died, so I moved on, did Variety, did World of Warcraft, and now I'm kind of like in that position where Twitch is doing really well, but I also miss just being an idiot in front of a camera for YouTube. So I'm going back to doing that, but reeling it in a little bit with Guild Wars 2, I think. Just trying to be a little bit more professional.
Aww.
A little bit, though.
I love that. You started with saying like, I don't do you know, that cool stuff, and then goes ahead with the coolest story with all of this stuff that she used to do for YouTube. I mean, okay.
I was a cringy kid, like very, very cringy kid. I think I started YouTubing when I was like 10. I remember making you know, drowning pool bodies.
But the bodies hit the floor.
But the bodies hit the floor, yeah.
I did a music video to that in old school RuneScape where I just died.
Oh, you didn't do RSMVs, did you? No.
Yeah, I just died over and over
Oh,
again, and I thought it was
Yeah.
peak content. Yeah, but the reason why I know like Blue and Queenie, and I know a bunch of other people in the Twitch sphere is because I would never shut up when I met people at events. I was like, "Hey, you're nice to meet you. I'm Rage," and I just kept on meeting people, and then everyone would always be like, "Oh, you're not partnered?" Honestly, that would kill me every time, because it's like, it was such a difficult position to be in when, like, I would never hit the numbers for partner, never, ever, ever. And then one day when I hit it, the first person I told, and this took like 5 years, was Blue and Queenie. I DM'd them straight away, and I was like, "Look, I want to tell you something." And they were like, "What?" And then I sent a screenshot to them, and honestly, those guys have been like, I don't know, like internet idols. Like, you guys have guided my journey into making this more of a serious thing. So
Aw,
yeah, thank you for that.
I think we actually did that, by the way. You've just said about it like that, and we were like, because we knew of you, I think, through a mutual friend at Let's Say It, and then we met on Insomnia. It was Insomnia, wasn't it? That was the first one, 2018 or something, 2018. I'm not sure the exact year because COVID's like really sort of screwed it over, like timeline. But we met, and yeah. So I remember you saying, "Oh yeah, I'm not partnered." We were like, "What? What?"
Yeah.
And we were like, "I swear I've been in your channel before, and I swear I thought you were." This whole time we were just literally were like, "Yeah, well, yeah, Rage is definitely a partner as well," and we just never really sort of clocked on, I think, at the time, because this is before badges were like properly shown as well, like partner badges, and we were just oblivious, and we were like, "Well, you've got the numbers." We were very confused. We were like, "Oh, it doesn't make any sense." So we were just went, you know, oblivious, and then obviously like a year passed. I think you've had it for like 2 years now, a year.
It'll be a year in October.
Ah, yeah. So you did get it in the end, but oh my god,
It took a long time. Like, that's why I
Too
think
long.
like it's so cool. Like with Yubong and like Blue and Queenie, like seeing you guys have your partner badge for literally years blows my mind, because it's just like, you're OGs, man. Like,
I'm just really old. That's all it is. Like, I was just
Thanks,
thinking,
Bonnie.
like, so. Well, no, I didn't say you were old, Blue. Queenie.
I am.
Blue and Queenie aren't old. I mean, I'm 36, and so I was making like cringy videos before YouTube existed.
Oh.
We used to host them on geocities.com, and we had a guest book on the website. That's how cool we were. And it was
None
in
of
the
this
era, it was
makes
when
any sense
Jackass.
to me.
I've never heard of this.
Hey, when Jackass was like just came out, we're in high school. We had like a little Sony hand cam that didn't even film in 720, and yeah, we made like ridiculous videos of us throwing ourselves into thistle bushes and things, and that was essentially the first content we ever created. And yeah, so we had to, because obviously we couldn't afford hosting space. There wasn't anything like YouTube. We had to upload these like Windows Media file videos to like random GeoCities websites, and we'd have to, every time we got a new video, we'd make like 3 or 4 new GeoCities websites, because you got 100 megabytes of space per one for free. I mean, it was proper ghetto days of the internet. And it reminded me of that a little bit. Yeah,
So you had cringy roots too.
I do have some of these videos still, but I'm not
you
gonna show
have
them
to
now.
show them. You
Yeah.
have to do some sort of like anniversary special where you look back on your previous years. There you go.
That needs to go and edit this video, do a special, put it on YouTube, on the Twitter. We all need to see it. We love
Yeah.
to see that.
But
That's
yeah,
a good idea.
YouTube was. I was 19 when YouTube like launched as a website. So making content when I was 15, 14, even 13. Yeah, you're talking like real media files that are like 10 by like fucking by 20 pixels, and just you can't really see what's going on. Oh dear. Yeah, dark times.
Crunchy, cringy
But
content.
it
We
genuinely
love
is
it.
just because I'm old. Like, I've just been around, and You'll be around long after I've gone.
I think
I
that's
am quite. Yeah,
go ahead,
I'm quite excited. I'm quite happy that I didn't have any technology that allowed me to film myself when I was 13, 14, because that would have been a lot of really, really, really weird stuff that we used to do. And I'm happy that nobody ever in the world will see that, and that I can not even find it anymore. So it's only in my memory now.
Same.
You're
Same.
lucky.
I'm sort of glad I missed that as well. Like even by only by a couple of years, I think I missed that. But yeah, I'm glad I missed that too. It's like it's a good idea because you don't know, like one of those like old videos could potentially go viral. Rage somehow has missed that. But it feels like that could have happened, and it has happened to some of the larger streamers. They've got like videos from when they were kids and they've went viral and then they've continued on in this time zone, and it's very weird to see that. Whereas I think back when we all me and Bongi started streaming, that didn't really exist that much. I remember I think my first video was on Xfire, and that was the first video I ever created, stabbing somebody in Battlefield 2142. Obviously in the game, by the way. I didn't stab somebody in real life, just to clarify, because we aren't from Page, so I don't want to get
memes had only really just begun. Like eBombs World, Newgrounds.com. Like, you know, it was getting like a little viral video on one of those websites. Then you were kind of a big deal. But then all of these people that had these crazy viral videos back then, they're nowhere now. Like, because they never, they just, it was just a stupid video they made. And there wasn't really a platform to kind of create that money and monetize it as well. Obviously YouTube with ads, that actually gave people this avenue, and it just kind of happened over like 5-6 years that suddenly it just became something that, oh wow, I can actually make something, put it on the internet and make money from it on a regular basis, and it be forecastable. You know, I can actually make this a wage.
Yeah, I agree. It's only become more of a thing in the last like 7-8 years, where it's been like possible to monetize it. But even then it was difficult. Like it was very, very difficult because YouTube was ads and Twitch was subs, and now is unfortunately more ads. But it's it can be that way where it's difficult to figure out where to go. But we're going to actually get into that next anyway, because the next sort of question is like, what are you most proud of in your career? This one's probably pretty quick. I think it's just a small little topic. I would say it depends. I think some people have got massive careers here though, by the looks of it, based on the jobs we just discussed. Mine is probably, I really don't know actually. I think sort of surviving everything the last 3 years that Twitch has sort of thrown at us, I would say that's what I'm proud of. A lot of my friends who started with me years ago are not on Twitch any longer. And it's just because whether the change in content or, you know, changing games or whatever, you know, they had to move. It sort of wasn't survivable for a few people, but we've got through it. And through COVID, a lot of us have survived through all of that, like, you know, and I definitely think that's what I'm most proud. I know it sounds very silly, but it has been a hard, say, 3 years. So I would say that's would be mine. But if anybody wants to answer, feel free after that. Feel free to go ahead. See whoever wants to go first.
We're all too polite. Everyone's just waiting for you
We're all
to choose
British.
someone.
Well,
This is a virtual queue. We're all just waiting.
No, after you.
First.
Please do go on.
Well, Callum, then you're first, considering you're the left of me. So go ahead.
Yeah. So in my short 1 year of streaming, I think the thing I'm most proud of is I managed to raise £2,500 for the Child's Play charity during a 24-hour charity stream, which was beyond anything I could have imagined to raise. I think I'd got the top goal for the, you know, the absolute maximum at 500. I'd got a challenge set for, and I think it was like 6 minutes into the stream, we'd blown past 700, and I was like, well, but now we've got to replan all the the things. But yeah, that'd have to be my proudest moment.
Well done, dude. Well done. That's actually a really big achievement, especially so quick as well. I bet you weren't surprised by that.
Yeah, it was quite surprising, to be fair.
Josh, go ahead.
I have 3 moments that stand out in the things I've done.
I knew this was going to happen.
I'm okay indulging people with the 3 things. One of them was when I was a martial arts instructor. This is moving away from Twitch. 2 of them relate to Twitch. One of them was my life previously. But when I was a martial arts instructor, I used to spend so long teaching people to punch and to kick and to grapple and to throw and all that kind of stuff. And I thought, how useful is this in real life? Because I understand that self-defense is a remarkably complicated thing, and anyone that tells you that they can 100% teach you self-defense that will work in every situation is selling something. Just try and be genuine. But I was teaching a kids class, and at the end of the class, a young girl I was teaching ran up to her dad, who was picking her up, and said, Dad, I know my left and right. And I thought, she only knows that because I spent so long that lesson doing left stance, left hand, right hand. And I thought that's probably one of the most important things that she will ever experience that I've managed to teach her. And at that point, I realized it's not necessarily about teaching people the most complicated things, but it's about teaching people the most fundamental things. And that's what I love about teaching, seeing that you can give someone a base improvement in their life. But as far as YouTube and Twitch goes, one of them was when I managed to get Mod Ash from old school RuneScape, from the Jagex team, to voice a character in an audio novel I was writing. I was trying to fill some time in my YouTube career, and I love RuneScape, so I decided to rewrite every single old school RuneScape quest as an adventure. And I would narrate it like a proper audio narration, a character walking through Tutorial Island and then doing all the quests and all this kind of stuff. And it was really long. And I got to I think it was the Imp Catcher quest, where you had to find all of the 4 imps for Wizard Triborn or Tranzig or whatever it was. And I decided, hey, I can get some special guests on. So I messaged Mod Ash, the head guy at Old School RuneScape, just thinking he'll ignore me and say no. He got back to me like a day later and said, yeah, what do you need me to say? So I just sent him the script, and he found some time by himself and recorded the lines onto his phone and sent them across to me. And I think that was the moment when I realized I do have the influence now to contact people and to say, hey, you're really important and I've looked up to you for a long time. And it was a kind of a proud moment for me that someone that I respected and admired for so long was willing to give their time to me to help create content for the audience. And as soon as I realized I could not necessarily demand, but politely request people's time, my content creation horizon just opened up, and I thought, right, that's now why I've got a video with 14 of the biggest content creators in it that I'm working on. But the single bit of content that I've produced that I'm super proud of, when I was doing the Worst MMO Ever series, I decided to, honestly, I was just checking my Google ranking. I thought I'll go onto an incognito window and just Google Worst MMO Ever and see if my search results are high enough. And the very, very top result was an article on PC Gamer about someone who had played through what they considered was the worst MMO ever. And it was a game called Otherland. And I looked into it because I'd never heard of it. So I found it on Steam and I downloaded it. And it turned out that Otherland is a series of novels written by American author Tad Williams. And it was converted from this big fantasy epic into an MMORPG. But no one played it. And it died. It went through development hell. The level designer was the same guy that designed the levels in Croc on the PS1. But it went through an absolute development hell. It ended up never getting fully released, but the files were thrown onto Steam, and you could play through a very janky, very old version of it. So I played through, and I realized I could find no content anywhere. No Twitch streams, no YouTube, nothing. And then I realized the amount of people who've actually finished this game, probably in the single digits. So I decided I'm not only going to play Otherland as a review, I'm going to finish it. And it took me about 120 hours. And I started as the only player in the game. And I played through this absolutely surreal MMORPG all the way to the end game. And halfway into this series, about 60 hours in, I was able to contact the company Drago Entertainment, who were hosting it. And I had a video chat with the guy that ran Drago. And I said, what are you doing? Why are you hosting this game? No one's playing it. And he took me through this insane development process. Apparently, when it was pitched to investors, they explained it was going to be the first MMO to ever make $1 billion in profit. $1 billion in the first year or two.
Wow.
They had high hopes. And then they realized making an MMORPG is actually very difficult. The whole project got dropped. No one else was willing to talk to me about it. So there's clearly some development hell going on. But it was on Steam. And it took me 110 hours, but I finished it. And I've now got a series called I Played the Worst MMO on Steam to the End. It's a 10-part series, and I get to the very, very last quest and finish the story of Otherland. And when I met one of my YouTube heroes, the Spiffing Brit, at Insomnia Gaming Fest, he walked up to me and he just said, I loved the Otherland series. And I said, of all the videos, why? And he went, because no one's done that. No one's played a random game to that degree of insanity. And I thought, okay, I'm probably not going to be able to again for a long time, but I am super happy that I've now, because Otherland is now shut down. It's not on Steam. You can't find the original files almost anywhere, which means my video series is almost a historical chronicle of this insane experience. And the fact that I've got that and went through it, that's what I'm proud of making.
That is insane. That is absolutely insane. Plus, Spiffing Brit said about it, which is amazing. The fact that he's seen it. I am surprised it was still on Steam for so long. When was it made?
Oh, goodness me. I mean, the original books were written years ago, but the Otherland...
The MMO, is that the one where it was a baseball player or a basketball player that had started a game studio to make the MMO? Because I was looking into this.
I don't remember. It was absolutely insane. I had no idea where
the story behind it's absolutely wild. Like,
if you
insane.
If you Google Otherland MMO, my videos are all just the top results now. And we were able to have almost like a party in the game, because when people started to see this series and when it started to pick up traction, I would log in to play the game by myself and I'd see somebody else and then somebody else and then somebody else. And it ended up being this very strange, almost cult-like mentality of, we know this is going to die, but let's experience it together for a little bit. And it was a beautiful, it was almost more beautiful because it was doomed. We knew this was going to just fall into oblivion, but we had those beautiful few moments together.
Oh, I see it. 2015, September the 10th, and it has a notice on it: at the request of the publisher, Otherland MMO is no longer available for sale on Steam. I've never seen that before. It's the first time I've seen that as a warning. Interesting. Wow. Yeah, and I can actually search your YouTube through that. Yeah, you come up. You come up. The first 3 videos are you as well. Yeah, that is pretty insane. That was
my proudest experience. The creation of not just content, but almost a historical time capsule of games.
Mausoleum.
It is a mausoleum, because I reviewed Terra. Terra died. I've reviewed multiple games on my Worst MMO Ever series that have since shut down. And I'm a big fan of Accursed Farms. Ross from Accursed Farms, fantastic series with his Game Dungeon and the Nerd Slayer with Death of a Game, things like that. These content creators who are looking into games that we know are going to die, because video games, the digital code that makes them up, can be lost to time. And it makes me very sad that these experiences that thousands of people have had, millions in some cases, will be lost. That's a shame. So I like knowing that we can chronicle the experiences for future generations who won't be able to play the game, but will be able to still see the adventure.
Yeah, immortalizing them in video form. I think that's a cool thing to do, because you're never going to be able to have the... I mean, we've spoke about this, haven't we, Josh, about the idea of an MMO museum where you keep a small server of each like deceased game running, and like why that won't be able to happen, unfortunately. But it's nice to be able to do it through video.
Yeah, you get into the legal. I mean, Star Wars Galaxy is the one that everyone talks about, and City of Heroes, and there was a Disney one based on Pirates of the Caribbean. I would love it if the games industry could keep these dead games effectively online for people just to wander around the world in, because you can be a visual tourist. You can just explore an MMORPG because the scenery and the geography or the writing is so amazing, or the voice acting if it was lucky enough to have that. But the fact that we are losing these artistic monoliths within the gaming medium makes me really sad. It's like losing a book forever, or an album of a band forever. I know that art can be temporary and it can be temporal, but we have the technology and the ability to make art eternal.
We've got NFTs.
Battle for Middle-earth. Battle for Middle-earth and the Witch King DLC. Some of the best RTS games ever. Obviously based on one of the best franchises ever. Lost forever. You can never play it again. It's gone.
Which is a shame, because people will say, oh, that was an amazing game. Hey, why don't you come around mine and we'll play it together? You can't have that experience anymore.
There's
and that
some
makes
type
me
of
really sad.
There's some type of business to be had there, a gaming archive. There must be something out there. I know obviously there's like things like Antstream for their old retro games, but those games can be found everywhere. They can be found quite often. You can even buy the old arcade machines still, but it's the games that, you know, die and suffer, especially like other land that I've just seen here, because I've just found it has its website up still for some unknown reason, and has a YouTube video up and has play for free. You can click on it, doesn't work. And
someone in the chat says that it looks like they're making a reboot of it, that there's Otherland Next as part of their website.
Oh,
Next
God.
was one of the original names for the Otherland project
Right.
on Drago, and that website hasn't been updated for years.
Gotcha.
So no, unfortunately, Otherland Next was the original name for it before they decided to change it. It never came to fruition, which was a real shame.
There's a good reason actually why there isn't this kind of business for an MMO museum, and World of Warcraft Classic's a good example of this. If you remember, they years ago for charity auctioned off each of the server blades for World of Warcraft, and when they launched Warcraft Classic again, they had to hunt down one of the server blades that they'd auctioned off so that they could redo the architecture for their servers based off of that, because they'd done something weird where it was very specific to the hardware they were running off, and it would have been just lost to time if they couldn't get that back.
I remember the announcement. It was during BlizzCon, and they just announced, I believe, Battle for Azeroth, and then just towards the end of BlizzCon, they said like, oh, and I hear your favorite ice cream flavor is vanilla, and then everyone screamed, ah! And then we're proud to announce World of Warcraft Classic, played the trailer, and then at the end the guy was like, so yeah, those server blades, we're gonna need one of those back. It was
Could you imagine? Trailer, then can't get the server blade.
I mean, he thinks he does, but he doesn't.
Yeah, I think there is something there. Maybe not a website, but I'm surprised there isn't some type of gaming museum, because even Pokemon are opening their own museum.
Really?
There is in
they are.
Sheffield, I believe. In Sheffield, in the UK, there is a video game museum, but it's mainly about old consoles and old console games, not specifically online media or things like that.
Nobody wants to go to Sheffield.
I was going to say that,
honest.
but I really didn't want to in case somebody was
Look,
from it.
I knew someone was going to say it, so I thought I'd be the one to take the bullet.
It's okay. Coventry is the worst place in England, and there's nothing you can say against that to make me feel otherwise. So it couldn't be that bad, right? Sheffield couldn't be. It couldn't be. It couldn't be worse than Sheffield. It's the only place in England I've ever felt I was going to get stabbed. Like, that's the only place.
You've clearly never been to Wolverhampton then.
I have. Yes, that Blue's from Wolverhampton. I've been to it, and it. Honestly, I wouldn't go to the swimming pool in Wolverhampton ever. I don't think I've ever been into a swimming pool where I felt dirtier coming out.
Yeah, me and Blue were talking about this, weren't we?
Yeah.
Yeah, at Insomnia we were talking about how bad Wolverhampton is for stabbings.
It's pretty up there. I think it's not too far behind London. But I don't even think Coventry's even up in the top 10, but it's just... I don't think I've ever seen so many sofas like on lawns and just things burned down. Like, and I live in Northern Ireland. We burn everything over here, but even buses we burn randomly. But I've never seen so much burnt stuff until I went to Coventry. Like, Coventry is the worst for me, I think.
What an amazing moment for someone to randomly join the stream. Like, if people join now, go, wonder what's going on in here. Oh, I see.
I am just sitting there as a person who's not from the UK. I'm sitting there. I'm like, what is going on there? Like, what is that thing?
Have you ever watched The Walking Dead? Just picture that. That's basically what England's like.
The entire country.
Near enough.
It's actually a documentary. They didn't even get actors. They just wandered around with a camera for a bit. They're like, we can edit this into a
scratching
TV
at
show.
windows and stuff. Yeah.
I like our country. I'm gonna say I like our country. It's very green. Go and spend like a month in LA and then come back and just look how green it is.
Oh, this is true. Actually, I went to New York and there's like hardly any trees anywhere. It's just they don't exist. But at least in England, they've got one every like mile, so it's not too bad. But sorry, it's weird for me because I come from the countryside, so I'm used to like trees everywhere. And then I went to, I think the first thing I did was, this is why I probably hate Coventry the most, is I went to clan meet in Coventry when I was 18, and I went to there were like 20 of us nearly, and they took us even to. This guy was like, "Oh, we'll go to a gentleman's club, not a strip club, by the way, a gentleman's club, an old club full of like just old people." And I'm one of those. Anyway, I'm old now, but it was the weirdest thing ever. And I was like, "There's nothing here." It was just a full city. There was no trees. There was no nothing. It was like probably the most scariest thing I've ever done. And I was like, I don't want to go back here. And it probably put me off England for like years at this point. I didn't want to go back. And then I went to other places. It was fine. Well. Yeah, you do. Yeah. You do. You have the Lakelands, don't you? Or
like
most of England is countryside.
Yeah. I was surprised by how green England is, because being from Wales and like there just being hills and grass and trees everywhere. The valleys, man, I'm not gonna lie to you. When I moved to England, it was gobsmacking. No, but I've lived both up north and back down in South Wales, so I've been in the valleys. And so when I moved to England, I was like, oh god, it's gonna be a concrete jungle in it. But no, like it's some parts. Stay away from Birmingham and like London area, and you're fine. Just beautiful.
Yeah,
beautiful.
Yeah, I think the nicest place I've been, and you'll probably hit me for this, I liked Liverpool, but nobody else seems to like it.
Liverpool's really nice, actually.
Yeah, it's really
one
nice.
of the few places that I've gone in England and thought, you know what, this is all right.
Yeah, I liked it.
I'm just confused that they call the building the Liver Building, but it's called Liverpool. So is it Liverpool or? Like that whole thing confuses me. Just makes no sense.
The Blackpool's nice. That's near Liverpool.
This podcast has become talk about the UK.
Top 10 greeneries in England.
Places not to go if you don't want to be stabbed.
Yeah. There must be a list somewhere online, like the top 10.
I'm sure Clickhole will have one.
There is. I looked it up on stream just to piss off my audience because most of them from England, so I did it on purpose. And there's a top 10 stabbings. Of course there is. Like it's London.
My town's in the top 3 of the worst apparently. So, claim to fame.
Nice. Never visiting you then.
That's never good. That's never good.
No.
We're starting to run out of time. So we still got, because it's like 40 minutes. Obviously these topics take a while, but we actually have a full proper topic. So we're gonna move to what you're most proud of, Ivy.
I'm going to be really quick about that one, to keep it brief and whatnot. The most proudest moment of my career is actually being where I am right now, making it into the gaming industry, because my background is nothing was promising me a career in the gaming industry because I come from a really small town. English is not my first language, and I never knew any friends in the industry. My education is I'm a teacher of English as second language, and basically I just kind of built that path for myself based on a pure passion for video games. And I told myself one day I'm going to be in the gaming industry, and I'm still not at my dream, because I have my dream that I'm not going to share it, because if you really dream about something, you don't talk about it because you're going to jinx it. I'm still not there, but I am halfway there, and I'm very proud of that, because that was a very difficult path. When Rage was talking about how long it took her to get Twitch partnered, I felt that on every single level there, and I'm just like, I know what it feels like when you don't hit something, when you don't go viral from your very first video, when you don't go viral from your second or third, when you don't go viral at all. So it's hard work and it's grinding. So that's my proud moment. That's where I flex my biceps, but I'm not going to do that. So.
Well done, by the way. Well done. Definitely well deserved as well.
Thank you.
Bongi, if you want to go ahead.
Well, it's difficult to say what you're proud of yourself. I think I'll tell you what I'm most proud of in my current career is our community that has been built over nearly 10 years now. They're almost a bigger thing than ourselves, and they're self-moderating. They help us keep the riffraff away. And I mean, by that, I mean the bad eggs, people that are just there to cause trouble. The community deals with it. The community gets them out. But they're so welcoming to, look, there's some dogs spinning in the chat. We like to spin dogs. That's a relatively new meme. I don't know.
I've seen that emote a lot.
The eggs are glorious, and absolutely love them to pieces because they make my life really fun and enjoyable. And without them, we're not anything. So I'm very, very proud of our community, and it means a lot to me.
Oh,
That's so lovely. That's absolutely lovely. By the way, I see that dog mode all the fucking time. I actually see it at least once a week. Somebody comes in and is like, just this random spinning dog. And I think it was like 2 months ago. Maybe it's less than that. But anyway, that dog was there. And I was like, whose fucking emote is that? Has a dog spinning? Like, it's two Angry Gamers. Of course it is. And I remember facepalm and I was like, it's of course it fucking is. And I've seen it so much now at this point. So credit to your community. They like spinning dogs.
hey.
You can be rickrolled, but you can get like dog rolled, dog spins.
We got dog spins. We
just like to spin dogs. I mean, there's some very odd stream specific memes within our community that I think really do probably make us seem quite odd, but we're lovely, really.
Yeah, I feel that. Mine decided to tell me that I'm wearing a wig every day, and I've got somebody who cosplays as me, which Rage met in TwitchCon, so it's always great.
Their name's Rage as well.
His name is
funny.
Rage. Yeah. He's like, oh, I met Rage on the way here, and I was like, wearing the wig, and he's like, yeah. I was like, were you actually? And I don't know if he's winding me up or not, but if he had that wig on, I'm so sorry. He's a strange one. Yes, it's actually you, Rage, next for your
so annoyingly there isn't one thing because I have a really bad memory, but generally I'd probably say I'm proud of the confidence I've grown. Yes, I was a little weird kid with a camera running around when I was a small child, but I used to do acting in school and I would love theatre, but I would never get on the stage, and I'd really disappoint my drama teacher because she knew I was perfect for a role. I'd say I'd do it, then I wouldn't turn up because of nerves. And I just hated being on stage. I hate talking to people. But since stepping out of my comfort zone and doing like Twitch and YouTube, I've presented, I've been on the BBC, I've done hosting like an esports event at Insomnia, I've casted, I've worked with O2 as a guest, like multiple different things that have pushed me way out of my comfort zone. And I'm just proud that I was able to. And getting in cosplay, man, the confidence to step into a yellow spandex with Tracer is just another level. Like, you think you have body confidence, and then you put on a yellow spandex and you walk through a convention center. It's just, it's another level of commitment.
Oh. And Murs is disappointed he wasn't mentioned there.
Oh,
is that what he said?
Yeah, I guess him too. He's kind of cool. I think. No, and yeah, I guess like being a fully fledged adult now. We bought our first home a year ago now, and that was me being actually full-time self-employed. Because usually mortgage advisors are so horrible when it comes to us.
Yeah.
Like, they're like, oh yeah, even though that you earn X, Y, and Z and you can prove it, they're like, yeah, but it's not an actual job, so, you know, you can't prove it. And it's so difficult.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So,
Try renting an apartment in another country where you're not a native to, saying, hey, I am a freelancer content creator, and they look at you and they say, what is that? And then you just kind of go into the whole process of explaining what you're doing. And sometimes the weirdest thing, when the landlord comes in and there's a ring light and DSLR camera, all of the computers, and they first thought is not gaming industry, they look at you kind of like, what are you doing there?
My mortgage advisor was my first mortgage advisor, because I got a second one after that. It was a family member of mine. And honestly, Irish people were related to everybody. I have a relative in some industry somewhere at least, so they're all relatives at this point. So I had one that is a mortgage advisor. Worst freaking idea ever. I had to explain to him everything in detail. And he's like, I really don't understand how you guys make money on this. This makes no sense. Who would actually watch this? And
so people give you money?
Yeah.
That's always the question, isn't it?
And then he went and told other family members, and then the other ones went to my mum and said, you get her out of this. This is not, she shouldn't be doing this as a job. Get her out of this. We will get her a job for the government. It's fine. We'll be able to do something about this. And I had to explain to him, I was like, Guys, I am about to get a house. Please just don't tell my mum things like this. So my mum sent me this message and she says, I tried to stick up for you, but they weren't listening. I was like, Mum, it's fine. Trust me. Don't worry about it. Like, they haven't a clue what they're talking about. They barely know how to use a computer. Don't worry about it. It's fine. So it was one of these times where I think it was just, you know, like when you have family members and so much in it, but now they're starting to get to the stage where they're understanding. But I think the best way I explained it was, well, you see the show Gogglebox and you watch people watching TV. Well, it's the same concept, only for gaming. And then all the people who are like the I suppose normal people, I suppose, that aren't into gaming, they're like, I see, I get it. I like Gogglebox. It makes sense. So that's sort of how they go. They're like, oh yes, perfect. And they all clicked on to what it was then. But it takes a while to explain to them, I think.
The best way I've found to explain it to, like, you know, aunties, nans, is like, you know, Anton Deck, right? It's that, but video games. And they're like, oh, and then that's it. Like, it shuts them up.
That's a good analogy.
Yeah.
It's very good, actually. I like it. Well, I was going to go to advice as the next one, but we'll just get into the main topic. Because this always happens. I always have, like, actually the first time I did a podcast, I had 10 questions. We got to 4. You were in that rage. We only got to 4. So I'm going to skip this.
Probably why you only got to 4.
It took it was a women's history month podcast.
Oh, we did not shut up, man. We would just, don't put women in pajamas on the front page with 10 questions. You ain't getting it.
No, we did not get very far. So this is the main topic I want to discuss today, is what do you feel is the future of streaming, gaming, and Twitch? Now, we've all got different experiences in this. So far, some of us have more new content creation. Some of us are sort of like from the older sort of days of content creation. And this is a difficult situation because a lot of people are starting to jump into content creation. And it is a career, but it's a very difficult career where only the top, probably less than 1%, are full-time. I think everybody here is full-time, and that's quite rare, but a lot of people see it as not a future. A lot of people look at it and think, okay, eventually it's going to die. Like, that can happen, but there is something there. There is a positivity of the streaming industry that's went. I mean, we've seen a load of companies jump into the gaming industry. For example, like, I got a sponsor from Just Eat, like, last year. I sat there eating pizza on stream. Didn't think that was going to happen. And it's so weird how these industries are sort of, like, intertwined. I mean, me and Rage went to a Pandora party together for the jewelry company because they wanted to see gamers, TikTokers and stuff like that into like their jewelry brand, and it was so surreal that it's becoming more of a mainstream thing. So if anybody would like to go first, I'm assuming this is going to be like nobody wants to speak first again. Bongi wants to go. Okay, perfect.
Yeah, I'll stick me all in. I think it's very much like you know, the medium of the day, right? So like in my nan's day it was newspaper and radio, in my dad's day it was TV, and in our generations it's internet. And so ultimately it's the same shit but just a different platform. So I don't think it's going to die. I don't think it's going to go anywhere. I do think it's going to continually evolve as it always does. Not always for the best. Sometimes, like there's currently like a fashion, specifically I've seen on YouTube, of like streamers who they are as toxic as they can possibly be, and they're getting insane popularity. And that's a deeper conversation about the polarized nature of society. But anyway, so things are going to evolve, right? But ultimately, yeah, there is going to be tons and tons and tons of kids who are growing up watching this stuff, like we used to watch MTV, or we used to watch stuff on TV and go, oh, I want to be an actor, I want to be a singer, I want to be a musician. And yeah, there might be hundreds of thousands of people that have the prerequisite skills to be very good in that role, but are they going to, like I said, 90% luck? Like, look at all the singer-songwriters who are fantastic, and before the internet couldn't get their stuff. They had a demo tape they'd send to a studio, and they go, oh no, we're not publishing that, or we're not going to put that on a CD. And so that's it. That was the end of their career. So the internet's given people much more opportunity, but with that, the competition grows and grows and grows. So we're super, super lucky, and the 90% of our luck, I guess, is just that we started 10 years ago. Like, you take any of the top guys right now, and not naming any, but anyone from the top 1% of Twitch, start them from nothing, where nobody in the world knows who they are, I guarantee they wouldn't get to anywhere near where they are now, even in 10 years. Because, like, you can be the most entertaining person in the world, but unless you get eyes onto your content, you're never going to get seen, you're never going to grow. And so there is a huge factor in luck in what we do. But like I said earlier, capitalize on the luck. Be ready for when that moment comes, and then you can run with it.
Yeah, that's actually really good advice as well at the same time, because that is a problem. There is a lot of people creating content, and if you're not ready for an influx of viewers, you can lose them really quickly in one go. You could go, as we've already discussed, you could get something viral, and if you don't capitalize on that, that's your only chance. That's your one chance that you've got. If you don't keep it going,
somebody might have seen a video of me and Tommy playing Grounded, like that game. It's like the Honey I Shrunk the Kids kind of game, where Tommy stabs a spider, like a little spider with a spear, and he's like, "Fuck you, little spider!" And then he turns around, there's a massive spider. He goes, "Ah!" Like that got like stolen from our channel, put on YouTube, on TikTok, everywhere. It's had like 30 million views across loads of different platforms. None of it attributes us. None of it's on our channels, and we've never seen anything from that, except for exposure, which, you know, as we all know, can't pay the bills. But, you know, like, we should have capitalized on that. We should have realized that's a really funny moment. We should have uploaded it to our own channels. We should have been the ones to spearhead that kind of thing. As soon as we realized that's a viral moment, we should have done that. And so we dropped the ball on that, and we didn't. We didn't. So that's what I was saying about being prepared for that stuff. Because otherwise somebody else will do it, and they will just upload your stuff to YouTube or to TikTok, and then they get the views. Yeah, I've seen that as well for PUBG. When we played a lot of PUBG, a lot of silly moments happened, like crazy silly moments that just didn't make sense, and we got put in a lot of videos without us knowing, because people thought they're hilarious and funny. And the biggest thing we find is a massive Turkish YouTuber took a lot of our stuff. The problem is Turkish, and they didn't speak any English, but it got millions and millions of views. And he took it, put it on his video. Again, none of them spoke English, so it was a bit of a problem. But you don't know what's going to happen, and you sort of got to keep an eye on that. And we never did. We definitely, I think it was probably our biggest screw up moment, is that we didn't take the clips ourselves and make them into something at the time.
One thing that I messed up on, and this, I guess this goes to show that you really need to capitalize on any luck that you get. Back in 2017, I got promoted by Twitch. This was before affiliate was a thing. So I was streaming to about 20 people. It was so small. And Twitch put me on all their socials. They put me on Facebook. They put me on Twitter. I was playing Overwatch. I got over 1,000 viewers, and some of the biggest like Overwatch content creators at the time came in my chat, and I saw them in my chat, and I was freaking out. And absolutely nothing came out of that. I think I got about 1,000 followers on Twitch, and then because I just didn't go live, I didn't take it seriously, and I didn't push people towards like the next content, like what to expect next, what I'm going to be doing next, or anything. I just kind of went, yeah, that's cool, and then left it. It took me so long to actually get somewhere because of that, and I will never forget that. Like, that's a lesson I've learned, is that just because you get the opportunity to be exposed in that way, it doesn't mean that that's going to turn into anything substantial.
Yeah, you've really got to push yourself with it, don't you?
Yeah, otherwise you're just going to lose it.
If we're talking about the Twitch and the future of Twitch and how things are going to be, at TwitchCon, I had a chance to talk to someone who used to do PR for Twitch for a very long time, you know, back when it was Justin TV. And the person told me an amazing thing, basically ran a history course of history of Twitch and how it went. That was an amazing thing to hear, because I was not here back in the day, was not taking it super serious. So the idea is Twitch kind of branded out of Justin TV because they wanted Twitch to be purely for gaming experience, because Justin TV was kind of like a wild west of the internet. People were doing some insane stuff out there that kind of became very hard to moderate. So Twitch TV was born, and there was even a very strict rule on how many minutes you could do non-gaming. So I think for every hour it was like 4 or 5 minutes that you were allowed to just sit there and chat with people, aka just chatting as we know it these days. So if you wanted to be on Twitch, you had to game all the time. Like, you could be AFK, you could go drink water and whatever, but there was very strict rules on that one. And I looked at the person and I say, it's funny how now there are so many other different categories on Twitch these days. We have cooking, we have sleeping, we have just chatting, we have, swimming pools and everything. And they went and said, yeah, it's kind of funny, but it went full circle. It went ahead and it went full circle, and it kind of repeats itself, and it's like a spiral thing where it starts and then continues exponentially growing, but eventually going through the same phases, if you may. So I'm thinking that what we might see in the future based on that, because again, history repeats itself in one way or another, there might be something like I don't know, like a baby, like a child, like a spin-off eventually when Twitch becomes too much. And there are so many things that's happening there, because we've seen companies, we've seen famous actors, we've seen politicians make their appearance on Twitch, which, is huge, playing Fortnite and everything, and it gets like thousands and thousands of views. There might be something that might be born off of Twitch with an idea, okay, we're just doing specifically that, and then we might see this platform, whatever it is, whatever like dimension that is in the future, we might see it grow as well too. So I'm quite curious about that, and I'm quite curious about what this beast is going to produce out of itself, and what it's going to grow into being their own thing.
I agree with that, actually. That's a good point, because back when we first started the streaming, you could not sleep on stream. People got banned for sleeping on stream because they were streaming for way too long. They slept, they got banned, and that was an interesting concept. And then Mixer came along, and Mixer started allowing people to stream sleeping. And then Twitch somehow allowed it, and then it became a bit of a meta for a short period of time. In fact, Twitch actually brought people to the London office to sleep on stream as a test, which was quite interesting. Some partners got to do that. You did that. You're one of the ones.
Yeah. It's actually still on, like, I can't remember. It's a Twitch-owned channel. The VOD's still there.
It is, yeah.
Wow.
Of like some weird charlatan who said that she could read dreams and that they mean things and all that. Would then interview us after we'd slept, and then they played sounds at us. Somebody crushed a biscuit over me while I was sleeping, and I got very angry with him. Yeah, I mean, it was interesting, certainly, but what is allowed on Twitch has certainly evolved. I mean, our only ever ban was for something that these days a lot of people do much more than we ever did.
What was it?
Tommy's told me.
It was a 2.3 second side profile mooning in the top right hand corner of a really small webcam, like in the corner of the screen. And we were banned for 72 hours, like that.
No.
And, but times change, things change. So I think Twitch will continue to evolve, especially with things like Amazon bought Twitch quite a while ago now, but it's still only really now where we're starting to see Twitch is finally changing because of that taking over. We're seeing like a more incentive push on ads, but Twitch really does have its uses where nowhere else does. Live streaming, game live streaming. The gaming industry is the biggest industry in the world, entertainment industry. It's bigger than music and film put together in terms of annual turnover. And these products are huge. They have a lot of people that are looking to be informed on okay, well, there's a new game out. Is it actually any good? There's never been a better time to work out whether a game is good. I remember going and buying a PlayStation magazine for a tenner, or maybe £6 or something, with a CD on the front with a couple of demos on it, and then reading the articles and trying to work out do I actually spend 6 months of pocket money buying this game? And so I think being able to watch somebody play the games, go, actually, can you do this in the game? And just asking somebody, getting immediate response. There's so much value to that. So I think gaming's definitely not going to go anywhere on Twitch, but I really like some of the creative streams. I love watching somebody do digital art or programming. I mean, I'm into programming personally. People like Kit Boga, who he live streams himself scamming scammers. There's the telescam people, and that is so entertaining. It's so creative, and it's the perfect thing to be on Twitch. I just absolutely love it. So shout out to Kit. But I think evolving and more different categories, it's good. It's good.
Yeah, I agree. Like, it's one of these things where you don't know where Twitch is really going to go next. But the fact that Amazon now has it means it's not going anywhere. And I think when we found out that it'd been bought by Amazon, I was like, well, thank God. Because you never knew. It was a single company by itself. Probably worried. But now that it has been bought by Amazon, there's a security to it. And also, there's competitors. There's YouTube and stuff. But in general, Twitch is the best place to be for live streaming content. And it has been for a very long time at this point. We've seen another platform come and go. And which was obviously quite sad, because competition's not a bad thing. But it's interesting to see where they're going to go next. What is going to be the next Twitch meta? And it's been quite an interesting journey to watch. The hot tub streams and things like that. They're always been quite a weird scenario, and it's never dull. And every week there's even people who make a living off of reporting on Twitch news on a daily basis, and you're just like, how is that a job? Just how much news is there? But there's so much. There's so much news. It's crazy, from like people either getting esport banned or people literally getting a fantastic contract from a company or something like that, or even the biggest break of their career, and it's all documented, recorded, and there's so many people, even they're doing interviews with creators, and it's quite nice to see that. So I'm very curious to see where it goes next, but it's never dull. I think that's the best thing. I think if you were someone who gets bored easily, I think Twitch, YouTube, and just content creation, even live streaming in general, is just where to be, because there's so much going on. There's so much going on, definitely.
It's amazing also to see news outlets, right? Different newspapers, actual television news that cover some of the Twitch-related stories, and it feels like, okay, so our world, our thing that so many people consider to be weird, not a real job, what are you doing there? It's actually being taken serious by the world now. We're considered to be legit parts of the multimedia creation society in a way, and it also wasn't there always. So seeing more and more things appear in the actual news outlets, that is quite mesmerizing to see as well.
Yeah, it's too big to ignore now, isn't it?
Yeah. Have you ever had, this is another thing I just wanted to ask, have you ever had somebody who's seen you on Twitch, a real life friend, and then they've reached out to you after that?
I had that last night.
Yeah,
did you?
I had it the other way.
Yeah, my partner's in this chat, so sorry, Miz, but I had an old fling message me last night saying, hey, I caught one of your clips on Twitch, yeah, and I've not seen you or talked to you in years, and yeah, so how are you? And I'm like, this is weird, like, no. No. It's so surreal.
Yeah, I've actually had the exact same thing. He found me when I was playing PUBG 3 years ago, and he says, it's really good to see you're doing so well. And I was like, block. This is not the time for this. This is so weird, because we didn't end very, like, nicely, I think, is the best thing. And I was like, you've ignored me for 3 years. Now you want to reach out? No, thank you. It's fine. It's not my cup of tea. There's a reason for it. And yeah, I found out he'd started streaming. And I was like, yeah. Okay, that's obvious as to why.
And there's the reason.
Yeah, I was like, yeah, okay, yeah, no worries.
A friend of mine from high school, still good friends actually. We used to play RuneScape together. In lunchtime, we would run to the school computers and load RuneScape up. And he now works for Miniclip, the website. I was amazed Miniclip is still going.
But, yeah, I thought it was gone.
We're still good friends. We still chat, and I occasionally get messages from him saying, "Josh, can you please get out of my recommendeds on YouTube?" I don't like the fact that I turn YouTube on and it's your face again and again and again and again. And I'm like, well, just stop playing MMO games then, because you're the one that's giving it the keywords. You can't be mad at me that I'm using the keywords in my titles and descriptions that you are watching. And occasionally I'll get messages from my dad going, did you know someone has animated one of your clips in Lego? And I'm like, I did not. This is amazing. So I watched it through and it was fantastic. So yeah, I occasionally get my dad or old school friends message me and going, why are you on the YouTube? I'm like, oh, it's my job now.
For me, it's weird because I was an exchange student in the United States for a year in 2009, 2010. And because the internet was super wacky back in the day, I lost touch with almost all of the people who I used to talk to there. But now through Instagram, Twitter, all of the other social media, sometimes people find me and message me and they say, hey, you're a celebrity now. Do you still talk to your old acquaintances? And that feels weird to me because I'm like, no, I'm nobody. Why? How are you doing and whatnot? So like all of the people from the States, they're like, I go to Twitch and you were in my recommended and you look very familiar. And then I remembered that you were the exchange student who I went to school with, and how are you doing? And I like, is everything, okay? Do you still talk to people? So that is I kind of happy because it allows people from a kind of past life to find me and still be in touch with them. But yeah, no, not a celebrity. No. If any of you are watching right now, please send me a message. I would love to hear from you.
Oh, that's quite cute, actually, isn't it?
The most surreal thing for me, and this is still surreal, is when people that I've looked up to or watched for a long time, or people whose work I am aware of, I get a message saying such and such has followed you on Twitter, or such and such likes the stuff, and I'm thinking, they know me? How am I on their radar? People look at me and go, oh, you've succeeded. You are a big YouTuber. You are a big Twitch streamer. And because there is never a moment, there's never an individual switch moment where that happens, your mindset doesn't change. 5 years ago, I was sat making Neverwinter videos in a room by myself, surrounded by mugs of tea. Now, I am sat in a room by myself, surrounded by mugs of tea. But making videos on different games now. And there is never a moment when you feel like you've succeeded. So I was chatting to a friend of mine, a YouTuber called Chef PK, who does anime food videos. Effectively, he watches popular animes and popular games, then he makes the food from the anime. But Chef PK is a really big Magic the Gathering player. And there's a Magic the Gathering channel called Tolarian Community College, run by a guy called The Professor. And Chef PK was hanging out with The Professor, and it turns out The Professor had seen some of my videos on YouTube, so I got a picture from Chef of him and The Professor kind of sat like that, pointing at my videos, and I'm like, what world is this where this happens? It's absolutely surreal to me, and it remains that I'm not only getting recognized by people that I used to know in real life, but I'm getting recognized by people that I admire and I idolize and I respect. And I'm thinking, if my work is good enough for them to pay attention to it, I'm clearly doing something right. And it's when you get to the kind of upper echelons, everyone knows everyone, not because it's this kind of horrible nepotistic net that we want to keep people out of, but there's a great deal of respect amongst all of the top creators that everyone watches everyone's videos and everyone wants to walk up to and congratulate everyone because of their success. It's not this gated community that I'm realizing as I walk into it. It's a very welcoming, very respectful community. If anyone in the chat right now ever starts making YouTube videos or starts a Twitch channel and you go to any of these events and you see people that you respect and you care about and you admire, walk up to them, because eventually they'll be watching you, and that's always going to be surreal.
100%. I had a mod. He's not a mod anymore, but he's a really nice guy at the time. And we went to EGX, one of the first EGX we went to, and he was like, "Oh, I see you," and I was like, "Oh yeah, come on over." He's like, "No, I can't. Like, I can't speak to you. I don't want to do it. I'm too terrified." I was like, "No. Come up and say hello. You've done a lot of favors for me. You've been in my chat for ages." And he was too afraid, and it's actually not the case. Actually, everybody you meet in real life, especially in the gaming industry, are very welcoming. They're not sharks. They're not gonna, bite you. No, they're really welcoming. Like, that's just how it works. Like, and yeah, I would completely agree with that. Like, don't be afraid to go and say hello, because like, what have you sort of got to lose? Nobody's gonna bite your arm off. It's not like, I know some people have had bad experience with celebrities, but the gaming industry is not like that at all. They're really, really nice.
I was just going to say, that's something that really, really surprised me. So Insomnia was obviously my first like creator event that I'd been to. And there was obviously like a content creator party. And it's surprising that you can just go up and talk to anyone of any size. And, you're all just talking about tips and tricks with each other. there's never like an awkward introduction or anything. Everyone's just, it's strange. It's like a big community that already knows each other, even though they kind of don't. You know of each other, so that's kind of enough. And I think that's one of the reasons why, especially the kind of community that we're in, is such a welcoming community, because everybody just knows of each other, or knows someone who knows someone. Yeah.
There's no prejudice with like size or anything. Like you said, I've always seen myself as a tiny little goldfish in the big blue sea, and I've never ever once been ignored or said, no, you can't sit with us. Like, it's always been such a welcoming like environment. It's crazy to me because I've always looked like Two Angry Gamers, like Bong, I've looked up to your work a lot because I've seen a lot of your stuff like throughout the years. But I know if I'd seen you at Insomnia, if I saw your EdgeX, something I'd go up to you and be like, hey man, how you doing? Because I'm just a middle-aged bloke with beard. I mean, it's all relative. Like, everybody is nobody and everybody is somebody to somebody else. Like, so it's completely relative to the people you're talking to. Like, I find celebrity culture to be very, very strange. I'm talking like people who idolize, you know, like Brad Pitt, David Beckham. I mean, is Beckham not even that famous? Well, he's supposed to use. I don't know.
We're showing our age now.
I don't watch TV.
Julia Roberts and all
just
those
don't watch
popular
TV.
females.
Yeah, and but yeah, I mean, I admire people because of their qualities. Like, one of my favorite celebrities of all time is Brian Blessed. I fucking love him, but I just love him because he's an awesome human being and he does like hilarious stuff and he does.
I just love the
stuff.
voice. That's all.
I had to look that up. Yeah.
There's a story he tells about how when, like, in the 70s, he helped a woman like give birth in the middle of a park in like London, and he's just such an awesome guy. And he like tore the umbilical cord with his teeth because he's such an animal, but he's awesome. I love him.
He went to the North Pole, didn't he? So that's understandable. Yeah.
He's like got the highest up Everest without oxygen assist. Like, he's just, and he only went down because his Sherpa started to faint. Like, he's just an incredible human being. So there's like, I'll shout his praises, but not because he's a celebrity, but because he's an awesome human being.
Yeah.
Sometimes you look at people and you think, you've clearly finished the main quest of whatever your life was, and now you're just doing all of the side quests that you've missed before. That's what, you know, when you see someone that's really rich and really successful, and you're like, you never need to work again. You've done it. I'm pretty sure Snoop Dogg is doing the same thing. Like, he wakes up every day and gone, I've not been on a cooking show yet. Let's go. I would love one day to wake up with enough money in the bank to be like, all right, main quest done. I'm going to go back and do all the side quests in my own life. That's the plan.
I like that plan. I'm going to adopt that too. I never even thought about it, but I'm just going to aspire to be that.
Yeah, I agree. That's pretty cool. We actually side topped again. I think that was my fault. I'm sorry. Did anybody not answer the future streaming gaming Twitch?
Me, but it doesn't matter.
Yeah.
I don't have a future. No, I do.
What?
No, I mean like no, I mean like
What are you planning?
No.
She's planning on going to Wolverhampton.
What I meant to say was that I don't think that far into the future to come up with an answer. I'm just happy. It'll be what it is. Don't worry about me. Just skip.
I've worked in schools for a long time, and you are correct that YouTube and Twitch streamer is the #1 aspired to job. And it's because the #1 aspired to job in almost any generation is who people are exposed to and who people see as being successful. It's gone from movie star, rock star, astronaut. But if we look at the history of entertainment and we go all the way back to kind of the Grecian amphitheaters, it was the idea of the chorus. It was the idea of the single actor. And entertainment throughout history has been about money, and been about how people can make money from it, how people can be seen to use it as advertising, and status. Because people have higher status if they are seen to be in positions of respect and authority and wealth. And then you get people who are patrons, who are paying these people to be seen. If you look at some of the old proscenium arch theatres, where you have what they call the boxes, the seats, those boxes in theatres actually face the audience. It's a terrible place to sit if you want to see the play. And that's because you're not there to see the play. You're there to be seen watching the play. It's almost like a yes, look, I'm important now. And because Twitch is just the natural progression of the entertainment industry, there are people who want to be seen on streams. There are marketing agencies who realize this is where the money is now. There are people who realize this is where the power and the wealth and the authority and the respect, at least people think it is. It's gone from the Hollywood A-list celebrity, it's gone from the rock star, and now it's the Twitch streamer and the YouTuber. So you're going to have people promise that they can make you a YouTuber, promise they can make you a Twitch streamer, sell you all of those courses on how to improve. None of them work. You improve with consistent hard work over a hell of a long time and a lot of luck. But the future is going to be, honestly, and this is slightly downing, but it's going to be where the marketing executives realize it is and realize the most profit is to be found, and then they'll push it to there. It might be virtual reality. It might be entirely mobile phone content. It might be shorter clips. But the future of entertainment is going to be people want to be entertainers because they've always been admired and respected, and they are the people you see in successful positions, and it's always funded by people that realize they can make a lot of money off marketing.
If the multiverse takes off, I will eat an Xbox controller.
I mean, the metaverse in general, with Facebook, everyone being connected to everything. The metaverse isn't a thing. It doesn't work. It's like the idea people say, and it's a marketing buzzword, and I hate it so much. They're like, oh, are you in the metaverse? It isn't a thing. It doesn't work. The metaverse is not virtual reality chat. The metaverse is someone saying, hey, if you buy this PlayStation game, you can put it in an Xbox. No, you can't. They're different architectures. They're different programming languages. You cannot smash everything like this together. The metaverse is a corporate attempt to connect everything with everything else because that is the biggest safety net they can possibly have for an advertising failure. And I hate it because it is soulless. It takes the character of anything away and smashes it into a big homogeneous soup of profit.
It's a pipe dream. It's one of them things. If you're trying to be everything, you'll end up being nothing. And that's what the metaverse is looking like. It's let's just bung all these different things together. You know, MMOs, MOBAs, virtual classroom. Once you do that, what actually is it? Because you've not going to focus on it, and it's just like you say. You're going to be a walking billboard. That's all it's going to end up being.
I'm actually hoping that the future is pods. Is basically you go into a gaming pod, whether that be in real life or you have one at home, and you're fully submerged in. That doesn't really sort of make sense. Full dive.
You've seen the film
into
that's with Bill. Oh, what's his name? Oh my God, that's not Bill, is it? Who's John McClane?
Oh,
Bruce Willis.
Bruce Willis, not Bill. What is Bill? Bill Willis. Bruce Willis. Surrogates of Bruce Willis is it like that's what I was picturing when you said the pod. Like,
yeah, a bit like sort of Ready Player One stuff, or Hack Sign, or anything like that, or even Digimon World 3. The game had that where you're in the game and you went into a pod place, and then your pod got shifted into the actual game, and it didn't feel like you were. Yeah, it was like a weird transition of you walking out from one place to the next, and you're already in the game. And then, actually, to be honest, most of them turn into nightmares because you get stuck in the game. But that's what I want.
Have you seen The Matrix? Because we have an entire trilogy of films about why this is a bad idea.
Yeah. I actually haven't seen The Matrix.
You've not seen The Matrix. You're going to watch and go,
yes,
my pod idea.
I've seen clips of it, but I still think it's a good idea. But I've seen clips of The Matrix. I don't watch any films after a certain point of time. I don't watch Goonies. I don't watch Matrix. I don't watch Terminator. I just don't like watching them.
You don't watch The Goonies? That one's unforgivable.
Goonies, come on.
Every time this brings up, everybody hates me for this, but I just refuse to watch them. I just can't go and watch them because they just look so ugly. And I'm like, man, these films look so grainy and stuff. I can't do it. I hate it. I hate going back and watching old films. It takes a lot of energy for me to pay attention to them. I'm like, no, can't do it.
That's fair.
What if you divide them into 15-minute episodes and you watch them bit by bit?
I get bored.
Movie recaps.
I get very bored very easily. I knew you were going to say this, but I've watched some old stuff. I've watched Pulp Fiction. So...
Have you
If we
seen
condense
that?
it into a 15-minute version, could you watch it then?
No, I get bored. I don't understand. I get bored.
Have you seen that that movie with like during Christmas he's on the tower? It's got Bill in it.
Die Hard.
Wait, it's not Bill, is it? Yeah, it is.
Look, it's past my bedtime. All right.
I haven't watched Die Hard either.
Sorry, Bruce Willis. Yeah.
No, I haven't watched Die Hard either.
This is killing Josh. Look at him. He's about to explode.
No, please tell me you've watched Die Hard.
Damn.
No.
I was forced to watch it last year. I didn't want to
Exactly.
watch it either.
Oh my God, Mers, why did you do that? Don't force Rage to watch that
I know,
stuff.
right? Because it's not a Christmas movie, and everyone's like,
It's not a Christmas
movie."
film either.
It's
no.
not right. It's not a Christmas.
not a Christmas
Just because,
film.
yeah, but it's not a Christmas film. Just because something's set in October, it doesn't make it a Halloween film.
Just saying.
I mean, by that logic,
Josh is just
Narnia is a
staring
Christmas
at
film.
us.
Yeah,
I mean-
true. Narnia's a Christmas film.
Narnia is
Is
a
it?
Christmas film.
Is it though?
No,
I
it's not.
associate it with
Exactly.
snow.
Die Hard is not a Christmas film.
It's 3 kids in a wardrobe.
4. Where did the 4th one go?
I didn't care about that one. I turned off before I got to it.
Oh, Lucy, rest in peace.
Oh dear. Oh dear. Actually, there was
100.
another one. Oh, Hobbit. I haven't watched The Hobbit either, or Lord of the
Okay.
Rings. That's another thing
That's-
everybody
Wait,
hates.
what?
Unacceptable.
Having not
Good
watched Lord of
times.
the Rings,
I love
I'm not
saying
sure
this.
I should have come on this podcast.
No, all right, okay, I have a reason. I think Frodo really creeps me out. Like, I can't look at him.
Well, it's just-
He creeps me out. Those eyes are just too
Frodo
blue.
does, not Gollum.
No, no, not Gollum. Frodo. Frodo creeps me out. I cannot watch anything with that actor.
Elijah Wood's got creepy eyes.
He does.
Yeah.
He's more
Yeah.
creepy.
I
Is he
can't.
in Sin City, or am I thinking of someone else?
I just like
Is he a
literally.
cannibal in Sin
Kimbo.
City?
Is he? Oh my god, I wouldn't watch that either.
Was
Then
Elijah Wood in Sin City, or who am I thinking of?
Bill, maybe.
Someone in the chat has a
Bill.
really good idea.
Bill's actually in Sin City.
No, he is. But hang on, who's the cannibal in Sin City? Oh, I don't know.
You'll
Someone in
never
the
live
chat
that
has
down.
just said, and this is a great idea, for anyone unaware, I dungeon master a Twitch-based D&D game with Callum and Rage and another streamer called Billy Tricks. Someone's just said in the chat, I can make them play through the plots of films they haven't seen.
Oh no!
I am
Please
going
no.
to specifically
great idea.
write D&D adventures for you to play through, and when you get them like, oh, that was a really good adventure at the end, I'm like, yeah, I just tricked you into playing Die Hard.
No.
That's what I'm going to do. If you just happen, right, next D&D session, it's set at Christmas, you just happen to be in the top of a tower, and then it happens to be taken over, and you have to fight your way down. Yeah, there we go.
I
Right.
will just jump off, and you will have
Yeah.
to deal with that.
Yeah,
I mean, you can. There's
we're gonna
a
have a
guy at the
total
bottom
party
helping
wipe in
you
the
out.
first
just
5
have a
minutes.
bouncy castle at the bottom, and they bounce right back up to where they were.
Stop ruining Die Hard D&D. All right, don't give them ideas. This is going to be a
Last
serious
time.
game. This is culture. We're exposing them to culture via the medium of D&D because they refuse to watch good films.
I would actually love that. That sounds like a perfect idea, to be honest. I would so love that because, you actually get to live through it, so you cannot complain that you're getting bored at, watching grainy, old, ugly movies. You are the movie.
Yeah. Yeah, technically that's a story version way of doing it. That works. That works.
It's like being forced against your will. I don't like that. I don't want to experience Die Hard again. And he will do it. He will do it because he did Scooby Doo. He made the
Did
the
Stranger
scary
Things as
nuns.
well?
We
Yeah,
had
the-
an
the-
adventure based on Scooby-Doo, where they
Yeah.
met all the crew, and then we had an adventure based on Stranger Things, where it wasn't the Upside Down, was it? Because we could. I don't know if we're allowed to say it.
No,
Yeah, I'm sure we can.
We didn't have the Upside Down because that would be too on the nose. You have to kind of make it slightly different. So I wasn't
Inside
sure
up.
whether we call it the flippity flop or the insy outsy. And then Billy just went, "Oh, I see the wall is pulsating with the upsy dussy," and I went, "All right, you've said it. That's what we're going with from now on." And it was a great adventure. To be fair, we called it Weirder Stuff.
That works.
It was good.
That's a way to force people to definitely live through it. Yeah, that would probably die. Yeah, I would slightly die inside at that point. I think. Like,
Is that not kind of D&Deception? Because in Stranger Things they do play D&D.
Exactly.
I thought about that after.
I actually haven't watched Stranger Things either. I just can't sit through that either.
What do you do when you're not on Twitch?
I like watching a lot of anime. I don't have time for watching movies. I just don't like them.
What
Fair
if
enough.
I
Die
don't like
Hard
people
was
too
made
much.
into an anime? What if The
I don't
Matrix
know.
was made into the anime?
Is it a good
What if-
anime? And is it a good
There is
looking
an
anime?
Animatrix.
The Animatrix.
Animatrix. Oh my god.
That's a real thing. It's 10 short
what?
episodes that talk about
Yeah, it's
the
a thing. I've
the
heard about
setting
it.
up of the original
I'll watch
creation
that
of the
then.
first Matrix.
I'll watch that then.
Actually, AOD, yeah, I did grow up with like no TV for like years. Yeah, I actually did. I lived on a mountainside in Southern Ireland, and there was no TV signal. There was one TV channel, and that was just about coming through. So that's probably why I haven't seen some of the films that a lot of people have. So I'm not going to go back and watch them. I'm not going to go back and watch them. Like, it's not worth it at that point. So I didn't grow up with like TV. I grew up with toys, just like little. I'm not even that old, but I grew up with like just little animal toys, and that was sort of it type of thing. Yeah, the Mourne Mountains, well, probably close to that. Omeath Mountains, AOD, Omeath, sort of area, which depressing, but there's nothing out there. All right, don't go, don't visit. It's just insects and greenery, and it's boring as hell. No internet,
If
not
you
worth
had
it.
films, you could have watched films instead of. But yeah, you could have. You say you like anime. Have you watched One Piece?
I've watched about 80 episodes of One Piece, and I got bored of it.
Worst show and jump by far.
80 episodes of One Piece, and yet The Matrix is too long.
Well, yeah, because One Piece was interesting, and it was actually a good-looking anime. But Matrix is like, I don't know what age. When was Matrix out? Hold on. Matrix release.
I think
Oh,
it was 1999.
Oh, 99.
1989. I was like
Jesus.
7. No way would I go back and watch that. I would have been too young. I don't know. I was 7.
But when you're 7 years old, you cannot grasp the concept of the movie because you're just looking at it and it's just like people doing weird things, like a guy just dodging bullets or jumping super high, and there's a lot that's going on. But you have to be a grown up to understand what they mean and what they talk about. So you have to go back and watch it as a grown up as experience.
this is killing Josh inside. Look at that. He's so
I'm always
disappointed.
within arm's reach of any film that I talk about. Whenever someone goes, "What game should I play?" and I'm like, "Oh, I recommend a game," and they're like, "Oh, do you have the game with you?" I'm like, "Yes, I do." Got a large stack of games there, large stack of things. You've got to have them. You've got to be within reach. Someone said, "Where's Die Hard?" Die Hard is where it belongs, downstairs, leaning on the telly, always ready to be watched. That's where Die Hard is.
God.
Do you know what?
Somebody,
I'll go and
somebody-
watch it, and I'll review it, and I'll give you my review, right? I'll just say it to you, right? Here's my review of it, and you'll hate me forever, and I'll probably be blocked because I guarantee anything that I've watched that my chat has recommended to me that's old, I'm like, this is awful, fucking awful. 1 out of 10. Don't make me do this again. And they hate me for like 2 days. In fact, I think I've gained a couple of unsubs because of this, but it's the same thing.
Somebody in chat at the beginning of our little podcast thing said that Josh would make an amazing Doctor Who, and now I see why, because I am legit convinced that Josh just has a little TARDIS that's out of the frame, and Josh goes there, goes back in time, grabs the Matrix.
Oh, no,
grabs
you've
the-
done it.
grabs the-
No.
Oh, there we go. I've done it.
I might have to stop working with him if he. Oh,
Of course he
There we
does.
go. Theory confirmed. There we
Doctor
go.
Who is like the worst franchise for a middle-aged man.
How very dare you!
Simon loves that. I'm gonna tell him you said that, Rach.
Oh no,
Oh.
it's so bad.
Christopher Eccleston and David Tennant's era of Doctor Who was very, very good. It was brilliantly written, and yeah, it went downhill from there.
Peter
But-
Capaldi is the best Doctor Who.
But he got terrible scripts. Like the best actor in the world, you know, if given a blank piece of paper, is not going to do much with it, are they? And that's essentially what the scripts for those seasons of Doctor Who were like.
Yeah, has anyone else watched the 5-hour epic Doctor Who documentary by JXC on YouTube?
No.
No.
One of the
No,
best
I went
5
outside
hours of my
yesterday.
life I've ever spent. I mean, I didn't even watch all of it, and then I saw a 5-hour documentary and thought, you know what, I've got time. I'll do it.
Oh,
Callum's
Callum's
died.
gone to watch the 5-hour documentary on Doctor Who. That's what he's done. He's like,
Yeah,
let's
he
do it
just
right
left.
now.
He just jumped into TARDIS and then went over to,
He-
teleport to the times when it came out to watch it.
He was, yeah, he's like, yep, this is it. This is it.
do you
For me.
reckon Callum likes Doctor Who as well?
Have you not asked him?
No, do you think he's a Doctor Whoer? Is that what they call him?
Uh,
Who's Phil?
oh, it's not Whoville. Oh my god. No, that's something else, isn't it? What's Whoville?
do you mean
Oh,
Torchwood?
Grinch.
Yeah.
Ah, that's what it is, yeah. Yeah, the nose
Yeah,
got it.
whatever. What are Doctor Who people called? If you're a fan of Doctor
Whovians.
Whovians. Who's
Whovians,
Phil?
there we go.
Oh.
Yes.
Oh,
yeah,
I
do
mean,
you reckon he's a Whovian?
yes.
Doctor Who is if you're British, you know,
Yeah.
there's a deep history of Doctor Who. I remember watching it with my dad when I was little, and I enjoyed the start of the reboots, and now it's moved into a thing where it's for people that are a lot younger than me, and it's not, I just don't get it. But I really did love Christopher Eccleston. His season of Doctor Who is really good. It's good sci-fi.
I like the
It is.
spin-off with the lady. I can't remember. It was not the actual doctor lady. It was like back in 2015. There was like a lady, and
It was like his assistant from the old seasons of Doctor Who. And then she'd been brought back for like a special episode. Then they did a spin-off, and yeah, it was like a proper kids show.
it was
like,
on CBBC.
It was almost CBeebies, yeah.
CBBC. CBeebies are some
Sarah
babies.
Jane.
Sarah
The
Jane.
Sarah Jane Chronicles.
Yeah, that was
I have a
good.
soft spot for old school sci-fi because one of my favorite TV shows is Star Trek: The Next Generation and Star Trek: The Original Series. So I have a real soft spot for actors in very obvious rubber suits throwing around very obvious boulders made of polystyrene at each other and overacting to the camera so much. I've watched every episode of The Next Generation and I'm going through all of the original series and I love it. I love that you can see every mistake they made. You can see the amount of money they spent. You can see when the marketing budget went, no, we can't afford another rock. Just use the same shot of the previous rock. No one will notice. I'm a big, cheesy sci-fi fan.
I can't. So you like the mistakes. I hate the mistakes. I can't watch them.
I appreciate them because when I'm looking at it from just a pure entertainment point of view and a creation point of view, I get... Callum,
How
did
was
you
the
watch all of Doctor Who?
documentary, Callum? How was it?
Well, yeah, I've just finished up like episode 12. It was pretty shit, to be honest. No, what I've done is I'm in the process of rearranging my room, and I was setting up both my. I didn't know what had happened then. It just everything disappeared. I've got my camera and my Go XLR plugged into a USB switch, and apparently I'd left it on the floor and trod on the USB switch, and it's just like yeet everything onto the other screen. But yeah, Doctor Who was rubbish. Wouldn't 10 out of 10 wouldn't watch again.
Oh, we were wondering if you're a Whovian.
These children that lack
while you
culture,
were
that's what it is.
gone.
No. I like David Tennant. I watched it a bit then, and after that it was downhill for me.
I quite liked it. As a person who's not from the UK, I haven't seen the original one, but when it got rebooted, I really got into it because my favorite teenage time YouTuber, he was a huge fan and he would create songs about it, playing on his ukulele, so I obviously had to watch that. And I quite enjoyed it. I kind of stopped at what's his name, Capaldi, I think that's when I dropped it. But David Tennant was one of my favorite ever, and
Yeah.
you know, when he switched, that was a heartbreak for me that I couldn't handle.
Yeah.
So it took me quite some courage to go back and pick it up. But yeah, I love it.
So I'm
I
the only one who
think
like Peter
Doctor Who for
Capaldi.
me.
Nobody else liked Peter Capaldi then.
Yeah, I think he was all right.
He's a great actor, but it's the scripts. The
was
the
bad
writing
script,
was
yeah.
abysmal
I
during
agree.
those seasons, and like pretty much after Matt Smith was a good Doctor as well, but the writing changed hands and it all started to go downhill. But Amy Pond and the Doctor as Matt Smith were acceptable.
Mhm.
Yeah.
This has just turned into a
Discussion
impromptu
on sci-fi.
Who con. I like it.
Yeah, I agree. This is pretty nice, actually. I think the previous podcast had a few US people involved, and there's times when we couldn't say anything for the UK people because we weren't sure what the US people were talking about, and vice versa, and they were just like, don't know what this is about, and sort of twiddling their fingers like, I can't relate to this. And that's just why I tried this time to have it more EU based, just to see how it would go, and it's gone pretty well. I think because you can relate a bit more because of the similar shows we've watched and similar
It's the
experiences we've
culture,
had.
isn't it? Yeah.
It's a different sort of culture, yeah. And
We all know Die Hard. We all know Doctor Who. We all know what cities to avoid in case you're stabbed.
Yeah.
Yeah, this is very true. Yeah. I think, but we only had one more question left. Is anybody strapped for time?
Oh.
Okay.
I've ruined my sleep pattern already, so it's
I mean, I'm 2 hours ahead of all of you, so
Oh.
it's like 20 past
Oh.
midnight. I mean, I'm having a lot of fun and everything, but just like, it's kind of getting on the late side for me, but it's all cool. I'm all good for the final question.
That's okay. Then we'll do this last question then. Okay, this one's going to be a little bit iffy. We sort of touched on it a little bit anyway. But what are your goals for the future of your content and any platforms in general that you use? Because I know there's a lot of us that use different platforms, TikTok, YouTube, Twitch, but do you have like a solid timeline for what you want to achieve and when? I know that I sort of have a half one that I'm sort of like trying to figure out where I want to be, what I want to do with content. I know it seems quite late into my career to do that, but it is difficult when there's sort of 2 years. I know Simon's went and did TikTok, which is sort of normally the opposite of what most people do, but Simon does TikTok, I do Twitch, and then soon, in the next couple of months, we're actually going to finally do properly YouTube instead of just like posting one every year and just be like, yep, great, there's the clips that I've made. But that's sort of what I'm looking forward to, and we put off getting on YouTube for about a year nearly at this point, because every single time we try and look at it, something else comes up and we're like, yeah, we too busy for that, we're way too busy for that. And I just don't know how people manage doing Twitch, YouTube, TikTok, Instagram. It is impossible to do all of them, it seems, but some people are actually managing to do it, and that's crazy to me. But yeah, if you guys have any plans for your channel, Callum, go ahead.
Yeah, so my main goal for this year is reach 100k subs on YouTube, which I'm actually well on the way to now. I think I'm at just under 70k. So hopefully I can get that done. But aside from that, I'm starting 2 new series on that channel, which I've been planning out for a while. One of them is it's called Gameplay Loop, and it's going to be going over the design behind systems in games, what works, what doesn't, you know, why the choices are made between all these different systems. And it's going to be more of like a put it on in the background podcast style thing, and it's something I've wanted to do for a while, but I've wanted to get the kind of style and the editing down, and I think I'm at the point now where I can comfortably do that regularly. So that's the main plan for me.
Okay, that makes sense. Yeah, like trying to get to that actual, like a full, proper, solid goal as well for numbers.
Yeah,
is a great
schedule
idea.
as well. That's the main thing for me. That's kind of fallen off in the last month and a half between car crashes and random crap that's happened on the side. But I'm going to take this as a chance to try and fix that and get the new series in there as well.
Makes total sense.
Yeah.
Josh, you want to go ahead? And I'll just quickly be your big thing here. Alfie at the door, so I need to let my pug out.
Yeah, it's fine. So I want to continue playing MMORPGs on my main channel. I want to continue playing terrible ones, but I am, of course, aware that I am slowly drawing closer to the end of the MMO, the terrible MMORPG things. So now I need to go and play good MMOs to their end. I've got a second YouTube channel where I replay retro games, and I want to find time to be able to replay all of the old retro games from the SNES or the NES or the PlayStation 1 or the N64 era. But I think mostly my editor is in chat right now, Visa or Viparza. What happened with that was very strange. Was a couple of months ago, probably a couple of years ago now, I have a Patreon page, and instead of having my Patreon scroll or my Patreon names be visible, I just reduced the size of the text to fit them all on one page on YouTube. So right now the Patreon names are like size 4 text. Unless you have a 4K monitor and you're playing my videos at 4K, you can't read them. Now, I render the videos at 4K in case you want to, but it's kind of pointless. But Visa started a channel where he was clipping what I did on Twitch and YouTube called Shrinking Text. And that channel did so well that I contacted him, and well, he contacted me and he said, look, hey, Josh, this clip channel has become monetized now. I didn't really mean it to be. I didn't know what was going to happen with it, but I feel a bit bad because it's monetized. Do you want the channel? And I'm like, no, I don't. It's far too much work. So how about this? Change the name to JoshStrifeHayes, make it a clip channel, and just keep doing what you're doing, and we'll just work together on it. So now I would love my YouTube channels to grow, but my main driving force is slowly driving Visa insane by the Twitch streams that I do. The 6-hour choose your own adventure stream, the 3-hour reaction to a reaction to a reaction to a reaction to a
still
reaction
have nightmares.
stream. Yeah, we invited Callum for that. So what happened was Zeppler, the Final Fantasy XIV streamer, was reacting to a video that I'd made live on stream. So I started streaming and I started reacting to Zeppler live, reacting to me. And then Zeppler called me on Discord. So then I was chatting with Zeppler live while streaming this, while she was watching a video of me, but then she put me in the stream as well. Basically, it was just this massive reactception. So yes, my main driving force now is to see the complexity that we can push Visa the editor to, because I think it's funny, to be honest. It's pretty much it.
Oh, am I hold on. I was still muted there. I'm still muted. So then we are moving on to Ivy. So go ahead.
It's very hard to say where I want to see myself. I definitely do want, and it's a crazy thing of mine, I really do want to go and just try TikTok and just go ahead and experiment on that one, because TikTok used to be the platform that has been frowned upon by many, and it's like, oh no, TikTok is cringe, why are you even on there? And we've seen that platform kind of grow an entire audience of its own. It's got like huge numbers. You can monetize your content on there as well too. And I've always had this curiosity because to me, each platform has its own peculiarities. You cannot do on YouTube what you do on Twitch, and vice versa. You always have to try kind of like approach it differently. And I always kind of had this tendency to kind of like make a fool of myself. If that makes people smile, I'm okay with putting myself in that situation. So with TikTok, this is something that I really want to go to and try there and experiment and fail and try and error and kind of take it as my own research thing, because I genuinely am curious out there. So I think that's going to be mine, and eventually I do want to make myself like get some steps in the gaming industry so I can eventually be the person reaching out to the kind of creators that I know and saying, hey, I've got something truly amazing to you that nobody else has seen yet, and I admire you and admire what you do, and I've got this offer for you. I want to be there, because I think that's a cool thing of giving people and content creators an opportunity to do something, and kind of, if you may, pay back the kindness of just being amazing and great people and being good at what they do.
And I think, honestly, like, if anybody could do TikTok, you could really do it very, very well. Like, overall, your content, especially, like, your love for space games, there's something there on TikTok, definitely. And I've seen so many, like, even Eve does actually okay on TikTok somehow, despite its audience being, like, majority of people 40 to 50 years old. It actually does okay on TikTok. So, yeah, like, there's a massive audience for space games on there, and even if you did something like cool or speak about the best ones or your top fives, I think it would really kick off. So yeah, like if you ever do get into it, I'll be watching anyway. So
yeah, I'm going to. There is an interesting thing about TikTok, because like every platform it has algorithms, and if you want to do really good, you got to have a solid plan and a content that you want to do. And this is like little secrets behind the scenes thingy. But if you had an account that was kind of abandoned for a long time, if you start creating content on that, TikTok algorithms are going to be like, no, your account is dead. Nobody is interested in that one. So it kind of makes sense to create a new one, a fresh one, because algorithms love new account and they kind of want to get you hooked on that. So it actually goes ahead and promotes you more if you have a fresh account out there that's already there. So this is kind of like my plan to try and battle with the AI and the algorithms and see who wins, human mind or the a bunch of 0 and 1s.
I actually screwed up on mine. I created a TikTok, did okay in it. It never ever went past like a couple of thousand views, and I tried to figure out why, because I swear too much. The C-bomb, stuff like that. Anything like that for gaming content and any swear words is a no-go. And as somebody who has a lot of funny clips, especially like things of me, winding people up. I'm a bald monk in a new world, and I went around and sort of trolled people and sort of, even got people to marry each other in game. I swear too much, and it is just to the point where TikTok can be very unforgiving. Twitch is fine for swearing and stuff like that because it's more of an adult platform, but TikTok massively punishes you. You can't even show blood on TikTok, or even mention the word death or anything like that, or your account basically gets flagged, and it's very, very extreme on it. So there's occasions where, in fact, what's happened is that because I am so bloody Irish for things, I've stopped doing TikTok, and I've actually handed over Simon, and he's done game reviews. His videos have gone 700k, some of them very close to 1 million, and then there's mine that barely like hit off. So I think it's a platform that you can do very well on, but if you screw up on the first week, that sets the tone for your whole account and it will never go anywhere else, and that's just it. And you've got to consistently make content every day for it to hit off as well, which is another thing I thought was very crazy. But it is properly structured compared to Twitch, where you can just go live, and while as yes you have to have a schedule, on TikTok it's every day or nothing. Don't even bother. You have to have every single day for it to go anywhere.
Oh, you're a bug.
Yeah. Come here, get back here.
I hear a bug.
He's so cute.
I hate TikTok.
Same.
Well, so like about 2 years ago, like, you know, when TikTok first came out, I had a very vehement opinion that if you are over 18 and you have a TikTok account, you should be on a list. That has changed. That opinion has changed, and now I appreciate that there are, you know, older people who have TikToks and blah blah blah. Thinking about content, stuff like that, we were like, well, we had some YouTube shorts and stuff, and I thought, oh well, maybe we could stick those onto TikTok. Made a TikTok account. Nothing. I've not really posted anything to my TikTok account, but I was scrolling through, and then there was somebody live streaming doing tarot readings, and I reported it for being charlatanry and being a scam, because that's exactly what it is, trying to get kids to pay £5 to have their fortunes read and all that stuff. And then I banned that person so I couldn't see their stuff ever again. Now all TikTok does is show me tarot readers. And I don't understand it. So I've had to delete the app off my phone, because all it does is just show me the people I'm trying to ban and stop looking at. It's so annoying. And then, like, they said, oh, it doesn't breach our terms and conditions. I was like, well, fuck that. So.
Well, you lost this fight with the AI and the algorithms.
Yeah.
It's officially.
They've worked out how to, like, you know, turn endorphins into heroin. And it's brain rotting in the worst sense. Like, obviously, yeah, like, we all sit in front of monitors and we all consume media, and if time enjoyed is not time wasted, but I found myself just scrolling.
Yeah, trying to find something.
3 hours have just gone. I was like, well, okay, I need to get off this app.
The only thing that I hate with TikTok majorly is that AI voice that they put on every TikTok. It makes me just want to punch someone. It sounds so bad as well. It's like it's the worst AI voice they could have found.
Yeah, that woman. That's actually not the original anymore. That woman tried to sue them.
I did hear about this.
Yeah. She tried to sue them or something, and they took her voice down, and they have another voice that's similar to hers, but not exactly hers. So for 5 months, they had a guy voice, and then they gave you the option to add more voices. The guy voice was even worse, even more robotic, and didn't sound very good at all. And you were like, why is this a voice? And then they give you the option to pick now. So they did actually eventually allow you to change it, but it was, yeah, I agree. It's awful.
Yeah, it's so confusing as well, because you can get good text-to-speech voices for next to nothing. Like, I've done loads of videos on this where I created an AI of myself and fooled people with a video done by an AI. That's dirt cheap. You can get a license for that. I don't know why they don't do that. It would just be so good.
Yeah. We are now on you, Bongi, for this question.
Yeah. Where are we going next? I suppose I'll tell you where we're going next. Last 2 years, nearly 3 years, you know, lockdowns, pandemic, we've been even more insular and, you know, basement dwelling than ever before. And recently we've started going to events again and seeing people like, oh, I remember you, we're friends, I think. And so I want to collaborate with more streamers and diversify our content with new voices, new personalities, which will enrich our content, hopefully. Obviously, you know, depending on who you invite. But I really want to diversify our content and make the streams as entertaining as possible. And people have been watching me for some people almost 10 years. So maybe it's time for more voices within our content. And I think that is where we're going to go, I think.
Makes sense, yeah. Completely, like, sort of diversify a bit more as well with, like, the content you produce. Like, having more people on is quite an interesting concept.
We have a group of friends. We have a group of friends that we play games with, but it's always good to try and get, like, we're friends with, like, Neebs Gaming, we're friends with Blue and Queenie, we're friends with loads and loads of people in the industry who would be absolutely like open to coming and playing games with us, but nobody asks each other because we're all just doing our own thing. And so it's about like, I think trying to make that effort to set up play dates, if you like, and going, hey, let's do something. When are you free? Couple of weeks. Okay, let's play Sea of Thieves for 3 hours on a Friday, or do something, and then just try and get more and more collaboration between different streamers.
Yeah, I agree. It's probably something I struggle with as well. I don't like reaching out because I'm like, are they going to say no and stuff? And I'm comfortable reaching out to certain people, probably like Rage and, other people I'm just like very nervous on, probably because they've been here for a long time, longer than me. So I'd say you guys are probably the same. I'm like, I don't know if I should reach out to your gamers because they've been here longer than me. But I think that's sort of my sort of like anxiety behind it.
But you've got a pug, so I mean, who's going to say no?
I know.
True.
I know.
Exactly. You just bring a pug and send a pug picture, and then they just like, yeah, sure, of course, we get to be in a stream and watch a pug.
Yeah, he's
It
very
is
happy right
intimidating
now.
when you try and contact larger streamers and you're thinking, am I important enough? I was on an episode of Allcraft with Asmongold, the big World of Warcraft and general MMORPG streamer. And after the thing finished, I sent a message saying, hey, thanks for having me on. And he sent back, no problem. If you ever need anything or if I can ever do you a favor, just ask. So I thought, I wonder if he means that. So I sent him a message a few days ago saying, hey, I'm making a kind of documentary about MMO content creation. You got 5 minutes? He found time within about an hour and spoke to me for 45 minutes answering every single question I had. Super nice guy to chat to. And then when I messaged the Spiffing Brit and say, hey, can we chat? He was, again, super nice guy to chat to. So far, every big content creator that I have reached out to who has seen the message, because I'm aware that the big guys get an absolute flood of messages, but everyone who's seen the message has responded very positively to the message. And I think this is because there is a level that you can reach if you rely on arrogance and if you rely on ego and that kind of toxicity. You can become relatively well known for doing that, but to get to that kind of upper echelon requires a level of humility and a level of respect and a level of understanding how to interact with other people. So when you look at the really big successful people, they are often very good at dealing with people, and they're often very, very humble and very open with their time when they have it. So reaching out to the bigger people sometimes is actually reaching out to the people who want to help you more, who are willing to do it. No one does it though because everyone's intimidated to do it.
But I think what's the worst that can happen? They say, oh no, I'm busy, or no, I don't want to. Okay, fine, I'll ask someone else. Like, it doesn't matter. Like,
Yeah.
just who cares? Like, and if somebody is too big for the boots and say, oh no, you can't possibly talk to me. Well, okay, well, fuck you, you're a dick, and I'll go talk to somebody else. Like,
Yeah, I agree with that. I think I actually did invite. So when I first reached out to people for podcasts, I wasn't sure who to go to as well because I wanted this one to be great. And obviously, I had my mindset on who to invite and stuff. And there's one person I did invite, and I felt that vibe instantly where they had a bit of an ego. And it's not like we're on the same numbers. I thought, okay, this would be great for them to be on, but they really shunned me on it, and I felt really like maybe I shouldn't stop reaching out. It's one of the first person I invited, and I was like, oh, okay, well, no worries. But it was very like, oh, I don't have time, but maybe we'll see, and it was type of thing. I was like, oh, okay, no worries, no problem, it's fine. And they're like, but I can still do it, and I'm like, can you do it or not?
Squeeze Alfie. I really want to squeeze.
He's
The
talking.
best way to make connections and network and to find those opportunities is to be in as many rooms as you possibly can with
Yeah.
as many successful people. And the way to be invited into those rooms is to be the kind of person that people like having around, to be the kind of person that elevates others above them, that lifts them up, that motivate you. If you turn up to a room with people less successful or more successful than you, and your presence there improves everyone's day, then when the next meeting happens, you are top of the list to invite. Let's get that guy down. Now, you're not doing it for nefarious reasons. You're not kind of cackling going, haha, this is how I stealthily sneak my way to the top. You're doing it because you genuinely like that kind of interaction with people. So you find that the people that are in every room that it's important to be in for career advancement is because people like them, like having them in that room. You making a party, oh, let's get this guy, he's fun, let's get that person, they're fun. Be that person, lift other people up, and you'll find yourself talking to the right people to advance your career.
Totally agree. Also, I think Rage, do you have a plan?
I just wanted to say real quick, similar to what Josh was saying, I got reached out by another creator recently, and I remember receiving the DM and being like, why are you talking to me? Why are you coming to me? Why are you messaging me? Because this person was so much bigger than me, and I idolized their content. Like, I really appreciated their content on YouTube, and it blew my mind that they would even acknowledge me. We spent like the next day talking, and they really helped me out with a certain issue that I was having. And then it's only as like the weeks passed, as kind of like come on, if I realized that this perception of like levels doesn't exist. Like, we're all kind of like regular people just doing our hobbies and our passion as jobs, and it's like you only really see those bad eggs that get too big for their boots every now and then. But the majority of us are really happy to be here, like, doing this thing. And that person was Josh. And since then, I've not only, like, made a new friend, but we've also started, and Callum, Session Zero, which is our Dungeons and Dragons thing. So my goal for this year is to propel Session Zero forward as much as possible. So basically, Session Zero is a live-action Dungeons and Dragons role-playing group where we essentially strip back D&D, so there's no like, oh, you're -1 charisma, you have to take a hit for this role. It's, I'm gonna dress up as a massive barbarian with a huge hammer, and I'm going to smack Josh in the face live on stage. That's what Session Zero is. And
True
so
story.
there's an amazing picture of me smacking him. It's a great
good
photo.
picture.
So I want to try and get that to as many UK events as possible, and just to try and get that more like basic. I want to be like UK Critical Role. I'll say it.
Yeah.
Okay, that would be my main goal.
It's needed.
Yeah, I just think I have such a passion in cosplay and Dungeons and Dragons and role playing, and the people that I am doing it with, I love. So I really want to do that. And my other thing is I recently started a new YouTube channel to try and diversify stuff. And I really want to hit monetization so I can start earning money from it, because I had an old channel that I was earning from, and it had hair dye, vlogs, Welsh speaking tutorials, just everything under the sun. And now I want a channel that's just one singular thing. So I want to get that monetized. So that
Can I just point out the story of your Guild Wars 2 jumping puzzle escapade, which took up so much of our time? So, Guild Wars 2 is an excellent MMORPG that has jumping puzzles in it. Guild Wars 1 didn't have jumping, it didn't even have a vertical axis. So, Guild Wars 2, when they had access to jumping, they kind of went a bit mad with it. And there's a jumping puzzle that takes you around the entire city of Lion's Arch. If you've played the game, it's called Troll's Revenge. And Rage was reviewing the game, and I said, you've got to review jumping puzzles. I'll help you do Troll's Revenge. But Troll's Revenge is incredibly time consuming. You're talking an hour if you make a single mistake. So I thought, hey, I need to get one of the mounts that jumps really high. So if we fall, I can create a teleportation portal, jump really high, create a second portal, and just portal you back to where we were. There's a class called the Mesmer that can do that. So I started the Path of Fire expansion, and I speed ran it for about 5 hours just to get the mount that would enable me to jump up to portal you back. And after I'd speed ran it, you said, right, we're ready. So I joined you, and we spent, a good 2 hours doing the jumping puzzle, because I didn't want to portal you past the hard bits. I wanted you to do it at least once. 2 hours of getting you there. It was a long time. I was busy. You were busy. Eventually you did it, and we all had a good time. And then I got a message the next day saying, Josh, I made a mistake. I forgot to record. So we had to do it again. And it took just as long the second time.
The worst part is there's a chest at the end that you can open when you're rewarded for doing the jumping puzzle. And we get to it, Josh opens it, and then I'm like, I can't open it. And he's like, you can't open it, can you? I'm like, no, I can't. He goes, that's because you forgot to assemble the 3 key pieces in order to make the key. So I go in my inventory, I look for the keys, I'm scanning it, and then that's when I realize before I started, my inventory was full. So I never picked up any of the key fragments along the way. So I couldn't open the chest at the end.
Oh,
Remind me to never help you with anything.
I didn't realize it spent him 5 hours to get them out.
I wanted to make your job easier.
Yeah. Yeah.
You've made his life harder.
I mean,
Yeah.
as a teacher, Josh, you should have the patience of a saint.
I wasn't mad. I was
disappointed.
The good news is we have some footage of the jumping puzzle. We completed it. We didn't get the loot, technically, but we did it. We did it.
That is actually very much on brand for you. I am not surprised you did that. I am not surprised.
I'm writing through the script at the moment, and it's taking so long, and I'm doing it like writing the script, watching the footage, reading my notes, doing it like that, and it's gotten to the jumping puzzle part, but the hardest one that we've done, which is the one that Josh just mentioned, and then I'm looking for the footage in my files, and I'm like, I don't have it. I never hit record. So yeah, I'm gonna kind of bodge that a little bit, but it's fine. No one's gonna know. Everyone can keep a secret, right? No one's gonna find out.
I'm telling everybody.
The absolute worst thing that I ever had when I was making MMORPG content was because, unlike single-player games that you can reload and play a level again on, let's say that I'm making a video on an MMO and I get to like hour 10, and I stop and start recording every 30 minutes. So I record in 30-minute segments. It makes it easier for me to edit. If I forget to record a 30-minute segment once I'm, say, 11 hours into the game, you can't go back and redo that story bit. You can't go back and redo the narrative bit because of the linear nature of MMORPG Central Stories. So I have actually been in situations where I'm like, oh, that was an amazing boss fight. I am looking forward to making the video on this, and then realize I haven't recorded it and thought the only way to get footage of that boss fight is to start a new character and go back through the 10 hours worth of work to get to the boss fight again. So yeah, there are moments where you fail to record, but you live with it.
Yeah, that's the most stressful thing when it's like, because it's single player, you have to do it in a particular way and you have to restart and you're like, no.
Yeah.
It's quite depressing actually finding out in the end. And you're like, oh, it's
The
not
worst-
good.
I've done that.
The worst that's ever happened to me was being flown to Sweden to record Battlefield 1 before it came out, recording a whole day's worth of footage, and then realizing that the audio line was wrong, and all I had instead of game audio was the microphone that was attached to the headset, so it was just static and the chatter of like a room full of people, and it was all completely useless.
This is painful to hear. It's just such. Oh, that hurts.
Always, as soon as you start recording, like record for like 5 minutes, stop, listen to it all back, check everything's fine, because otherwise you will just hate yourself.
Words
I
of
did
wisdom.
exactly that with I was doing a review of Spore, like a nostalgia check back on Spore, and I'd recorded about 50 minutes of gameplay and audio, and then realized that the gameplay volume had somehow gone up to max and I'd muted my mic. And I just sat there, looked at it, and I was like, not today, please. Not today. Because like you say, you've then got to create another game, go back through the whole thing. Oh, it hurt. And like there were so many good clips that I couldn't now use because the audio was gone. And I wanted to cry.
Oh.
It'll happen once in everyone's career, and you will never make that mistake again.
I have done this in a sponsored game that I was supposed to do. Like I had a pre-recording because I've for some reason some sponsors want pre-recordings to put on Steam instead of just doing it live, and I have done that, and I have done a full hour of a game just sitting there like, this is going to be pretty difficult. I've got to make sure that I am creating content throughout it, and it's something very unusual for me because I don't really do pre-recording stuff. So I'm sitting there trying to figure out a way to consistently speak throughout it, because they were like, please don't leave any empty silence. It's like, okay, I can do that for an hour, sure. I like speaking, I like, it's okay. Got myself hyper as hell and kept going through this, and then in the hour I was like, I haven't recorded this. Oh my god. So I had to sit there and do it again, and it was another wipe, and it was a really cute game though, I'm not gonna lie. It was really, really nice to do it, but it was a very big, like, it was devastating for me because I was like, I don't have much time at the moment anyway. This is back when I was trying to do TikTok, Instagram, Twitter, Twitch, and then we're trying to do these pre-recording like sponsor things every so often, and Gut was like, how have I done this? And I feel like what Bongi has said it's such a good idea. Check 5 minutes, sit there and record. Just do tests and listen to yourself first before you do anything else in case, because I regret it so much.
Times, even with all of the years of doing what we do, like I still will be fooled by a Windows update, which changes the audio.
Yeah.
Oh my
It
God,
duplicates
yes.
all of your
We've all
audio,
been
and
through
then
there.
but they're still called what they're called, but you have to click them and then click the one that isn't what it is. But otherwise, so I'll go live, everybody's like, yeah, muted, can't hear anything, and I'm like, but I can hear it, so what the fuck? Why can't you? So you go into the settings on OBS, everything looks fine, but it isn't. It's a Windows trick.
Oh no, I'll tell you what's the worst. If anyone's ever recorded VR content to put in a video, I made a horrendous mistake. I was playing through Half-Life Alyx for one of my videos, and I got it screen recording. Goes well, brilliant. Come to look at the recording and realize that the Steam VR overlay had covered the entire screen. And because obviously I'm seeing it on the headset, and I'm just like, oh, this is working perfectly. And I checked the first 5 minutes, and yeah, like hour and a half of gameplay, just useless. And that's going to happen often with VR, you'll find.
VR is a nightmare.
If we're sharing the stories, we had the same thing, but we did it for work. It was an interview with one of the game developers and one of the hosts, the person who was recording that. And this is a one-time thing because it's very difficult to get hold of the game developers. They're very busy, so you don't get to like have them back. The person who was co-hosting with me and on whose side it was recording, we heard him perfectly, but it was not recording in the OBS. So what I had to do, because that had to go out because it was filmed for one of the online conventions, when COVID hit, everything went online, so it had to go out because it had to be planned. I had to edit that video where you crop it weirdly to just get rid of the person because he just sits there on the video talking, but there's no sound there. And I also had to edit it so it feels like the developers are answering the question that I asked, but also not miss anything. That was the most difficult thing I've ever done. And there was no way to record it, re-record it. There was no way to do it. I had to make it work. Never again. Never again. No, never again. That's bad.
It's not worth the stress at that point. You're like, oh God, yeah. It's just a double checking. It's like going through a checklist in your head, I think. Like, to be fair, I haven't really made that mistake again myself, but I only make that mistake when I'm by myself. I feel, for whatever reason, I only make it when it's just me doing it. If it's somebody else, I feel like I have to triple check everything, but when it's just me, I'm like, nah, it's fine, it's okay. And then I regret it after. So I think that's like, a double checking thing that I don't care too much. I don't double check myself, but I double check it when it's a load of other people. Yeah, that's probably it, because I panic thinking I'm going to ruin their experience, and that's my biggest panic, is ruining it for somebody else for me instead of my own. I'm like, okay, I can suffer through it, it's fine, but if somebody else is a sufferer, I'm like, oh, I don't want to ask them again. I'd be panicking. I think that's my biggest.
That crushing feeling of doing something and then finding out that it's been not recording or something happens quite frequently to me, because I go into Scan Computers and I record in the studio with them, like either it'll be a product overview or whatever, at least once a week. At least once a month, we'll do a full take of a script. It'll be banging, it'll be amazing. I'm using hand gestures, it's great. And then they'll watch the footage back and they'll be like, Jess, there was an issue with the mic. It wasn't and I'm like, you what? It wasn't what? It wasn't what was wrong with it? And they're like, yeah, you're gonna have to do that again. All the time. It's devastating.
Right, we should probably wrap up, because I do feel bad because it's Ivy's 2 hours ahead of us, and it's about to turn 1 a.m. for you. 1 a.m. So we're going to start wrapping up, but I would actually like to ask where everybody would be able to be found. So your Twitches, Twitters, and we're going to start with Callum on where they can find you on all your content. If you want to link it in chat, feel free to. I think everybody's a VIP, so they can. Oh, maybe Josh isn't.
So you can find me under Callum Upton on YouTube, Twitch, and Twitter. Those are the main platforms I use, and that is where you can find me. Twitter, don't expect anything useful on there. It's just a stream of consciousness. So, yeah, I'll get the links for those for you guys.
please. Yeah. Actually, I can get some of them. I can get some of them easily. I have everybody's Twitches linked. So everybody in chat, Exclamation Mark Podcast, you want to go and follow everybody, I recommend doing so through the links in chat, because you will probably see them on again. At least I hope they'll come back on the PJ Podcast, considering it's a strange sort of podcast where we're wearing sort of pajamas or like old clothes or just chilling in something comfortable. But hopefully everybody comes back. But if you haven't, make sure you give them a follow through that link at least, and you should find everybody else's socials through that anyway. Hey, there it is. Callum's 2 links. Go over.
We got them in the end.
We got him. Josh, go ahead. Do you want to do your outro?
I'm on YouTube and Twitch. You can type JoshStrifeHayes into Google. You'll find me on Instagram, although I never post. You'll find me on Twitter. You'll find me on Discord. You'll find me on YouTube. You'll find me on Twitch. PMs are always open. You can always contact me on Twitch. You can always tag me on Discord. I get a lot of people doing it, so I can't always respond, but I will always try my best. If you're interested in terrible MMORPGs or in discussion of the philosophy behind MMORPG content creation, YouTube is your best bet. If you want retro games, you've got JoshStrifePlays. If you want clips of the best bits of Twitch, you've got JoshStrifeSays, and JoshStrifeHayes is the main one, because everything rhymes and it's easier to do it that way. If you want to join us for some of the Choose Your Own Adventure, I bought the digital versions of these. The first book took us 6 hours to get through on Twitch. There are 15 books. We're getting through all of them. Join us on Twitch sometime.
Perfect. Ivy, would you like to go ahead and do an outro, or just where they can find you?
Sure, of course. It's pretty simple. It's Commander Ivy everywhere. It's Commander Ivy on Twitch. It's Commander Ivy on Instagram. If you kind of want to see more of my moving adventures, I do a cool thing that's called This Turkish Kitten on Instagram, because there are a lot of cats on the streets in Turkey. That's where I live right now. And people vote yay or nay. And I might or might not ban people who vote nay, you know, so you kind of got to go and take that chance. And there's a lot of like more of my life stuff, my work stuff related on there. Twitter is purely content creation. It's Twitter, it's being a community manager. There's a lot of awesome stuff going on, and Twitch, of course. If you're into single player, story-based adventure games, RPGs, choice-based games, if you're into being immersed and kind of go into a half an hour discussion of why a certain character made this or that decision and why a certain ending is plausible or not, feel free to join, because this is what we do there. And Twitter is Commander Ivy with the underscore in between, because that's a sad story. I had to rebrand, and Commander Ivy was taken on Twitter and also banned for something. So if you're searching for Commander Ivy without an underscore and thinking, oh no, she got banned, that's not me. That was somebody B4V, and now I've taken that place.
Better replacements. This is Commander Ivy 1.0 now. This is the better one.
Thank you.
Bongi, go ahead, where they can all find you. Oh, you muted.
Yes, I knew I'd do it at least once. I keep muting myself because the car's going past the window. But 2 Angry Gamers TV on Twitch and YouTube, and the number 2 Angry Gamers on Twitter, because, you know, back in my day there were character limits on tweets. Yeah, that's about it. I think we've got a Facebook as well, which is 2 Angry Gamers TV, but we don't really post to that. But you can follow it if you want.
It's there for the analytics. Yeah. And Rage, go ahead.
I'm on Twitter at Rage Darling, Instagram at Rage Darling, TikTok at Rage Darling, Twitch at Rage Darling, and YouTube was at Rage Darling, but it will go to my old cringy YouTube channel now if you do that. So don't do that. Just type Rage Darling into YouTube. Don't do that. Just Rage Darling into YouTube. Still trying to get that like vanity URL, but YouTube won't let go of it. It won't let me transition it. So yeah.
It's going to be a lot of people looking up everybody's old content now. After today, you guys better be careful, because your first YouTube videos are going to be searched. So yeah, mine's already been searched. I shot myself in DayZ, but trying to pick an apple, so that was never good. But yeah, mine's already there forever. But yeah, guys, thank you so much for being fantastic guests today. If you want to find me, obviously you know where to find me, Blue and Queenie from the channel today on Twitch. Twitter is Blue and Queenie or Queenie and Blue, and every single tag is the exact same. But I have had the best guests I've ever had on the podcast today. And I say that very, very clearly. I've loved every single one of them. Every single person here I actually watch, and I can't recommend them enough. Some of them I've known for years, like Bongi, and other people I've met recently, even at events. And I've met every single person in real life here. So they are literally the best creators you can probably get, the loveliest people. So go and follow them.
We are real.
We are. They are real.
They exist.
Trust me.
Not in an AI.
More than pixels.
Trust me, they are real. But everybody also in chat, I do have a feedback form. This is the third podcast that's now been done for the PJ podcast. I would love it if I could get some feedback on it. Any guests you want or anything like that, go straight to our website. I actually made Simon, if you haven't seen Blue in chat or where he's been making this form for me today on the website. I told him right about 2 hours ago. I said to him, I want a feedback form to see how it can be improved. So yeah, make that for me. And he was like, huh? So he made that within the last 2 hours. So he wants some feedback on that. That'd be appreciated. But I do want to say,
more Alfie.
I know.
That's my feedback.
Oh, you need to fix your feedback form. You've spelt your first question wrong.
Has he?
Well, you've put, what would you as a PJ podcast topic?
Oh, Simon, he is, just so you're aware, he is from Wolverhampton, okay? And you're also from Wolverhampton. That's how they talk there, right?
Yeah. That's I fully understood it. Don't worry.
I think he sent this to the mods as well for proofreading.
They just open it, yeah.
Yeah, they were just, so I think all our mods are still probably
Yeah, it's a topic for the BJ podcast.
What would you?
That is fantastic. I'm clipping that, Bongi. I'm going to keep that. But if you could, please give some feedback, including the guests, if you want to, of course, if you think I can do something better. But the support I do appreciate Twitch putting us in front page, UK and US. We were somewhere on that reel anyway for US as well. So they got to put up with our accents, which is great.
No.
But I appreciate them providing the Twitch spotlight for us all. And I really hope you enjoyed the topics. It was a bit of a weird one, and lovely game gifts from everybody as well. I really appreciate Twitch. But yes, guys, good night. Thank you so much, everybody, for joining today. You are all amazing. I appreciate it, and I better let you go because I am now waffling. So
yeah, thank you for having us.
Thank you very much, Queen.
Thank you so much.
It's been a pleasure. That was a lot of
Very
fun.
much.
Bye, guys.
Bye.